Welcome, Wapham crew. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, November 21st, Monday, November 22nd, for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. And welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I hope you guys have been having an awesome weekend so far. You're getting a lot of relaxing in. We have just started our Thanksgiving vacation on Friday, so kids don't go back to school until next coming Monday, and they're really loving it. They've been actually kicking their asses like in the yard and doing all kinds of work around the house. It's pretty weird. I think I need to go check for pods. Seriously, it's kind of freaking me out. If you're listening live right now, you're listening to us on KPNL Radio at kpnl-db.com. And you can also listen to us live on Spreaker.com under We Are Paradox Media. Make sure you come in, join the chat room. We generally have a lot of fun in there. If you'd like to follow us on your free time, if you're at work or walking through the park or whatnot, you need some company, look us up on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podcast Chaser. Make sure you go over to YouTube, subscribe, like us, and make sure you give that bell a little tickle so that way next time we have an episode come out, you can listen to it and you will be made aware of it. Also go to our Facebook and our Twitter to check out different things that we're doing over there. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there, and I hope that I say this correctly. We have the Tangiphoa Parish Paranormal Society. And in this paranormal society we have Lindie McIver, who is from a small town in Mississippi, a mother to two amazing kids. She is a paranormal investigator with Tangiphoa, I think that's correct. Or it's Tangiphoa? I think it's Tangiphoa, that makes more sense. Parish Paranormal Society. What is it again?
Tangiphoa.
Tangiphoa. Whoa.
Yeah. It's Cajun.
Cajun. That makes a lot of sense. She's always been interested in the paranormal because of her own experiences, and since actually investigating, she has not only been able to help spirits, but many people along the way as well, and she has met some really amazing people who have become like family and taught her so much along the way. Then, hopefully, pretty soon here, we'll have Mr. Josh Williams in, who grew up in southern Louisiana. He is the co-founder of Tangiphoa Parish Paranormal Society. He was always a skeptic until he started going out investigating. The paranormal world has shown him a lot of amazing things, and he has met a lot of great people along the way. Then we have Mr. Tommy Brumfield. Hopefully he can call in later. He's at work right now. He is also the co-founder of Tangiphoa Parish Paranormal Society, and he grew up in southern Louisiana as well and has lived there his whole life. He has always loved horror movies, especially ones dealing with ghosts, and throughout his childhood he would experience weird things every now and then, but didn't think much of it at the time. As he got older, he thought maybe there's some truth to all of this. So he went out with an analog tape recorder and went to a local cemetery and caught an EVP. That's pretty much what did it for him and I guess made him a believer. So he has also met so many great and amazing people along the way that have become like family, and he is looking forward to seeing what the future holds. And just knowing Lindie, like, that's got to be one of the amazing people that he's met. How you doing, girl?
I'm good, girl. I'm so glad to be back chatting with you.
I know, I'm super excited. I was like bummed because, due to Mother Nature and all the other crazy crap going on out there, it's like, man, we just couldn't get it together, but here we are.
Life, I think, has just been crazy for everybody here lately, though,
Yeah, it seems to be part of the pandemic or whatever. Everything's gone crazy. Everyone's gone batshit crazy.
Right.
I actually finally
Right.
got to get out and do some paranormal investigating. It's been a long time because of
No, I'm so
COVID.
glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about that. I saw y'all went, and I was like, oh, I need details.
I know. I was hoping to do a Facebook Live, and I was super excited about it. But the places we tried in town we weren't able to access it. Like the Animas City Cemetery, it was established, I believe, in 1876 or something like that. We tried to go there, but there's a whole bunch of houses built in front of where it should be. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, wow.
Somebody said last night, didn't you watch, what is that movie? Poltergeist. Didn't you watch Poltergeist? Like, don't build your house on a freaking cemetery. And then the other one as well. It was really crazy. I think we got a call coming in. I'm waiting for it to pop up here. Oh, goodness. Hello? It's not popping up. Pop it.
Technical difficulties.
Right? Freaking Skype. What am I paying for? That was probably Josh. Let me try him again. And let's add to call.
I don't want to hang up on you. I'm going to try to get in the group chat and be like, hey, homie, where you at?
Yeah, I'm calling him back right now as we speak. And then the Folsom Cemetery, so that was a little ways out of town going towards Lemon Lake. And we went all the way up this creepy old road and ended up in some guy's freaking front yard. I'm like, holy shit, is everybody building their houses on cemeteries these days? So I wonder if that's like his family cemetery or what. But Folsom Cemetery, it sounded pretty interesting to me because I love Johnny Cash and I was just like excited to see what was there.
Yeah, no doubt. But, I mean, people watch some movies and learn some lessons.
Right? Just because it's Hollywood doesn't mean it's true. It isn't true. But yeah, we finally made it to Florida Cemetery, and we drove around for quite a while, and I'm secretly hoping that something creepy shows up along the side of the road or whatnot. Nothing did. And then we finally found the place. I knew it was the road, but I was just like, no, like, I don't want to go in somebody else's backyard. Like, this is the third time tonight. Third time's a charm. I'm probably going to get my head blown off. But we had some awesome activity. We went to the cemetery right next to this church. The church creeped us out more than the cemetery did. But yeah, went around to the back of it, and as we came in, my daughter Nova saw a lady in period dress. She had white lace around her neck, black long dress, and white lace around the cuffs. And she was bending over, like, looked like she was weeding, she said. And it was kind of funny because there was different plots in there where people had, like, used a skid steer or did something to loosen the dirt, get the weeds out. And then the creepy thing was they made little mounds on each of the graves. I'm like, why are you doing that? That to me was kind of weird because they didn't match the dates of the people. So it looked like a bunch of children when in reality it was, you know, adults and such. So I don't know, it was kind of creepy and disturbed soil. I think it could have kicked something up. And then we also saw a naval officer. I saw him first and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I looked back again because I looked at my niece Cheyenne and my daughter Nova, like, did you see that? And when I looked back, it wasn't there. And I was like, oh, maybe it was that tombstone. And then right after that, my niece Shania was like, do you see that figure in white? It's walking towards us. And I was like, I just saw that. I think it's a naval officer. And we go over there, and there was actually a naval officer buried on that plot.
Buried?
So, yeah, so it was super cool.
Oh, that is cool.
We got video.
I didn't actually see, like, an apparition or anything, but it was crazy because me and my team at the time, we had been at an investigation, like, the night before. It was overnight, and then we went and grabbed breakfast the next morning, and we were like, oh, hey, we're going to go over here to the military cemetery and just kind of drive around and maybe get out and investigate and just see what we get in the daylight or whatever, you know. And so we stop at this first little stop and get out. We're just doing an EVP session, and me and one of my team members, like, audibly hear, like, this flute being played. And we're like, what the crap? And we reviewed the EVPs, nothing there. And so we were like, okay, well, maybe we're just, like, hearing stuff. We're all tired from last night's investigation. And we keep going or whatever, and we get out to this big memorial, and where you go in, it's basically a bunch of names on the wall. Well, I just get in there, and I just close my eyes in the middle of it for a minute, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to see where, the spirit takes me. And so I open my eyes, and I just go to the wall, close my eyes again, and just start feeling, and I stop, and I open my eyes, and I'm on the musicians' names. And I was like, well, isn't that crazy after we just heard this flute? Well, we keep touring the park and doing things or whatever. We're getting ready to leave, and I was like, let's just stop one last time. I just feel drawn to stop here. And where we stopped, it wound up being where this little boy was, like, where he was killed at, but he was actually a musician. I forget which side he was on. But he would, like, run back and forth between the sides and, like, play his flute and, like, let people know, like, where he was and where the other side was. And, like, it was just crazy, like, how the whole day, like, played out like that. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome.
Yeah,
I'm
I had
glad
a
you're
issue earlier. I didn't even realize I had a call. So.
Oh. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Glad to be here.
It's about time.
It's about damn time.
Yeah,
Where you been, boy?
Now, I'm new to all this, so y'all be gentle. It's my first time, so.
Hey, when am I ever, like, taking it easy on you guys? You should know me well enough by now to know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We'll try to be gentle with you this evening. No, the only rule that I have is have a good time, and this is an adult show, so feel free to drink, smoke, cuss, whatever you like. Just make yourself at home and have some fun. That's all I request. So how did you guys end up meeting, getting together, and forming your group?
Oh, Lord. I guess we originally...
store.
Well, I guess we, like, first met, though, like, at Terror on the Coast?
Yeah, Terror on the Coast.
I mean, we did some other ones after that, but I think Terror on the Coast is kind of how it all started. Like, David Childress' team was down there and invited us all to go, and we all hooked up, investigated, and then investigated several times after that. And then, like, I kind of drifted away from my team and was kind of going out on my own and started messaging them, like, hey, like, I got some locations I want to bring y'all in because it's always fun hanging out with y'all and investigating with y'all. And then it was like, why don't you just come on over here to my team?
Well, see, me and Tommy had already been discussing trying to recruit you when we kind of put two and two together that you wasn't with that other team anymore. So
gotcha.
We'd already been discussing it, so.
Gotcha. Y'all just love me.
Right.
Like how you investigate. You're a good investigator.
Yeah, because
awesome.
I'm a talkative one. Yeah, so we all teamed up, and I don't know. I don't think they knew what they were getting themselves into with pulling me in there.
No, we didn't.
Now you know.
We bit off more than we could chew. Right, put it that way.
And they love it every minute.
Yeah, you made your bed, now lay in it.
There's no getting rid of me at this point.
Well, it's been fun so far, you know. I mean, it was me and Tommy for so long, you know, we spent pretty much 10 years in cemeteries, you know. So now we're actually grouped up doing a lot of different things now, so that's fun.
Yeah, they're like, man, like we've done all these cemeteries, and now we're going to all these different locations and private clients and like all this, that, and that. I'm like, and sometimes I have to tell them, like, look, if I'm throwing too much at y'all just tell me, like, hey, slow down, slow your roll, back up 10 feet.
Sometimes it is, but we it's okay. We just got to catch up with it. You know, that's all good.
Yeah.
So your original team, Lindie, was up in Mississippi, right? And then did you move down to Louisiana?
I didn't. Actually, like, even though they're in Louisiana and I'm in Mississippi, we're not that far from each other. Like, literally, like, I'm on the state line and they're almost on the state line. So it's not like we're that far from each other.
And we've been doing a lot of things in Mississippi, too, so.
That is so cool. So,
it's kind of
like,
cool.
you know that area, and they
collaborate.
know the other area, so you guys are able to show each other different places and experiences.
Yeah, and this coming up weekend, we've been actually doing a lot of stuff in Mississippi, and then this next coming up weekend, I'm actually going to Louisiana, and we're going to do an investigation over there. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you coming to our domain next weekend, so.
Yep, I'm on y'all's territory then, huh?
I actually got to go to Louisiana a couple years ago for Halloween. We went to New Orleans with Caden and Alyssa Mask, and it was awesome. We got to tour the whole place with some friends of ours, and they got to show us their experience of or abduction, they call it. They were abducted in the French Quarter. And man, it was just so beautiful down there. It's amazing. And just the energy.
We got to get you down here to investigate with us. But if you ever do go back to New Orleans and want to do a very insane investigation, you have to go to Rampart. Have to.
Yeah, I would love to do that one.
Oh, I'm going back. I got some unfinished business there.
So what exactly is Rampart, and what was your experience there?
Okay, so knowing now what I know, it really should not have been my second location to ever investigate. It really should have been a location that I go to now,
right?
Per se. But the back history of the place is, it's a little duplex building. It used to be just fully apartments. But back before Hurricane Katrina hit, there was a couple that lived there. Zach, he was in the military, I guess, was suffering PTSD, and he met this girl Addie, and then Hurricane Katrina hit, and they were pretty much, helping the community and, doing what everybody was doing during the aftermath, I guess. Well, I'm not really sure what all happened that put him in this downward spiral, but he wound up pretty much chopping her up into little bitty pieces.
Ew,
and put her head on the stove to boil. He put her arms and feet in the oven and wrapped her torso and put it in the freezer. Well, little old me, just starting out as an investigator, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. Well, I used to not do my research on locations. I was just okay, let's just go see what we get.
Yeah, that's what I like
to do. Well, I didn't know the backstory on this place, anything, and so here I am, this empath, walking in here, and immediately when I set foot through the threshold of this building, my ear starts burning. And I'm asking the tour guide, and I'm literally, what is going on right now? My ear's burning. And she just played it off oh, I don't know. But you can literally feel the heat, radiating off my ear, and my ear was, blood red. Well, the deeper I get into the building, I'm well, I'm going to go, and it's a one-bedroom apartment. It's a bedroom, a living room, and then you go through the kitchen to get to the bathroom. So I'm walking through the kitchen. I get to a certain point, and I'm I cannot be in here anymore. At this point in time, I feel flames are, coming out of my ear. So I go back, and I sit down in the living room, and I'm sitting there with a periscope, and it starts, just going off on the right side, which was the ear that was burning. And the tour guy was are you still being affected? And I was yeah. I was it got so bad, I couldn't even stay in there. And she's Addie, leave her alone. And when she did that, from my chest up, at that point in time, felt like it was on fire. You literally see me, on the night vision cameras, I stand up out of my chair, and I was I can't be up here anymore. I go downstairs, and I'm getting holy water and Florida water and everything I can do at this point in time to put on my ear, to calm me down. And she follows me downstairs, and she was do you know why you're feeling what you're feeling? And I was I do not. I was but this is wild. And she was you're an empath. I was well, no duh. but can you tell me, what's happening? And she told me the back history of what happened in that building, and I was okay, well, I'm feeling her head on the stove boiling right now.
Yeah.
So I leave there, and the next day I was I've got to go, back over there and release some of this energy before I go home. And so I go over there, and I'm look, I don't want to go all the way upstairs. I just want to set foot through the threshold to see if I get what I got yesterday. Well, this time, instead of feeling the heat, I felt the cold.
Oh, wow.
And
From
so,
the freezer? Or?
yep. And it was like probably one of the most profound things that's like ever happened to me as an investigator. But I literally went home and I've been going to New Orleans my whole life, because I don't live that far from there.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally remember looking at my husband on the way home that day, and I was like, I have a whole new outlook on the city, like a whole new outlook. And I was like, I learned a very valuable lesson. Like, from now on, I'm going to be doing my research about locations before I just walk in there blind like that and not prepared for what, how it could possibly affect me,
Well, I totally feel where you're coming from, because I like to go into a place without knowing, we call it cold, and see what I pick up and then compare it to what the history is and other evidence to see if I'm actually picking up on things. For that to happen, oh my gosh, that is insane. What I heard about those two, like, they were totally in love, awesome couple, but they were right upstairs from a voodoo shop. And I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it.
Shop there. It's still there, and the lady who has the voodoo shop now owns the whole building and pretty much rents it out for investigators to go in and whatnot.
Wow. Have you ever been there, Josh?
I have not. I didn't even know there was a voodoo shop on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
There. I've been telling them about it. I'm like, I've got unfinished business there. Like, I'm going back. Y'all are coming with me, but I'm going.
We definitely got to do that one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if something from the voodoo shop, like, went into their apartment and caused this. I mean, I know a lot of things were bad because of the hurricane and the way life was there in New Orleans, but, it really didn't affect them until that certain point in time. I wonder if something came up from the voodoo shop, some sort of energy, and possessed him to do this, and then he realized what he had done and killed himself.
I'm sure that had something to do with it too, but just the energy of the hurricane coming too, I'm sure, just made it insane,
Right.
I'm sure it was like...
Yeah, Katrina was serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your guys' first encounter or investigation together?
Terror on the Coast.
So what exactly is that?
Did we investigate together? I don't really remember. I think we kind of split up or something, didn't we?
Yeah, but I was with y'all that night. It was me and you and Lindie and David and Tommy and Ron.
Okay.
Yep. Then everybody else went to the other end. And we all stuck together that night.
That's right. I remember. Okay.
Yeah, because actually my son went with us on that one, too. He was with me.
Oh, wow. How old is your son?
He's 13.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people poo-poo on that, like, oh, you shouldn't be taking kids to this, but my kids are gifted, so I take them with me. Not my little ones that are under the age of 10, but my older kids I've always taken with me. And
well, my daughter's, she's had her own experiences and whatnot. Now, my son, he's more of a skeptic. He's just more about going and checking out the locations. He's more of, like, the history and the, whereas my daughter, and actually my daughter's kind of shut down after an experience we had with a shapeshifter at our old property. She's kind of shut down to it, but Holden's more of a skeptic. I'm just waiting for him to go on a location and have that moment, and then I'm going to be like, yep, there you go.
I don't know. I kind of feel like he's experienced something, but he's not admitting it because he doesn't want to give it power or whatever. He doesn't want to have this gift. He doesn't like it. So he's just, like, denying it.
Yeah, that probably is my child a little bit.
So, Josh, can you tell us what exactly is Terror on the Coast, and what was your guys' experience that night on that investigation?
Well, Terror on the Coast is a haunted attraction, and they have a lot of it's movie props, but it's like actual real items that they went around and they found. Like if a movie needs a hospital bed, they got an actual hospital bed. So they got things like that in there, and we experienced. I remember when we first started investigating, we heard like a girl's voice, It was like a kid's voice. Like it was clear, but we didn't catch it up on audio, you know. So that was pretty interesting at the beginning. And from what I remember, I want to say we kept hearing like bangs.
Yeah.
Like Linda, you remember back in that corner? I'm trying to remember
where it was like a costume, like across from the bathrooms in that one room. Or are you talking about like back? Yeah, I do remember that.
Like we kept having stuff happen right up in there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind doing that place again.
Yeah, do you guys think it's a haunted location, or is it haunted items, or is it a combination of all of the above?
It could be both, you know.
Yeah, I would probably say that as well.
So did you guys get any sort of feeling of what was doing the banging and what was trying to interact with you guys or freak you out?
No, not really. I mean, I didn't get a sense of anything, like, bad there. I mean, I think a lot of it is probably just from most of the artifacts that they have there that they've brought in.
So have you guys done that location
to me,
repeatedly, or was it one and done?
I would go back to that location.
Yeah, I liked it.
I want to go when it's cooler, though, and not hot.
I know, I hate
it was hot as hell that night.
When I was a kid, it didn't really affect me, but when I go back to Arkansas and stuff as an adult, I'm just like, how the hell did I live here before? I cannot stand it. You take a shower, you get out of the shower, you dry off, you're all wet again.
You want to tell her about the hospital?
Oh, well, I've sent her some pictures and kind of had a little bit of discussion with that outside of this.
Oh, yeah,
so she knows a little
guy
bit about
peeking through the window. Holy crap.
Yeah, well, we went back.
Oh, that was in the corner.
Yeah, well, I've been a couple times, but I brought the guys in on this location, and I don't really think... I think they were just they got there thinking it was just going to be like any other location, walking in, just being there all night for hours, and they were in for a rude awakening.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely were. Yeah.
When we first got there, I was like,
go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was like, because they had never been there before, and I've investigated there several times. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to do a walkthrough, kind of show y'all where everything's at so we can kind of get a game plan for the night. And so we do all that and investigate just a little bit in there. And we go outside, and Josh was like, we were only in there 30 minutes. And I was like, you realize we were in there for like 2 hours? And he was like, no way. And I was like, yeah, you need to check the time.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But as the night, as it got dark, though, the energy there just changed. It was bad. It was so bad. We were literally setting timers to go in and to leave. And, at one point in time, we were all out in the parking lot taking a break after one of the timers went off, and we were all looking at each other like, do we really want to go back in there?
Yeah, I've never felt anything like that before.
So what exactly?
But I actually saw. I actually saw a figure that day. Tall, very tall. Well, I say it was tall. It was hunched over, but if it would have been standing upright, it would have been very, very tall. Slender, long, lanky arms, fingers, everything crossed from one side of the hallway to the other, down on the psych ward.
Ew.
There's been squatters going in this place and doing rituals, and the land's actually tied to Indians as well. So it's just a lot going on, yet alone the spirits that have passed there that are stuck there for whatever reason. But it was kind of crazy. We were doing a walkthrough, doing a live video, and if you go watch that, Tessa, you can actually hear it. But me and Josh were out in the hall, and we were looking at the like these lines going down the hallway, and we were talking about it, and we were like, oh, well, that's probably like where the gurneys and stuff were like rolled down the hallway, you know. So we go in this room and start doing a session, and about that time, we all three audibly hear what sounded like a gurney being rolled down the hallway, and we actually caught it on our lap. I didn't catch it on, because we had the voice recorder going, but I didn't catch it on there, but it was actually, you can hear it on our live, which was crazy. But, like, the whole night, it was just weird. Like, we were getting stuff coming through the spirit box at one point in time. We got stuff on the we got an EVP that said, hello, people. And that was when I had just called out to some other spirits, like, to come talk to us. I was like, hey, come talk to us or whatever. And when I went and reviewed it, it was like, hello, people. Like, it was just crazy, and it was clear as day. But the energy there that night was just bad. I've gone back since then, and the energy has felt good and not bad. But that night, like, literally, like, we were getting, like, I don't even know how to describe the feeling in there that night. It was just bad. Like, none of us even wanted to be in there. Like, I didn't want to have my back.
You remember on the SLS, we caught that figure of what you described.
Oh, we did, the figure that I saw. Yes, I do remember that now. Yes, and we actually watched it morph from, like, almost like a human form into this ginormous thing on the SLS. I forgot about that, Josh. Dang.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. But, it, like, literally, like, because we were losing track of time in there, and actually that happened to me and one of my girlfriends that had gone in before that. Like, we literally thought we had been in there a couple hours, and we had been in there all day long. And so, like, we were setting timers. Like, I would give us, like, a 10-minute timer to get in the building, where we were going, get set up, and then I would set a timer for, like, 15 minutes to do a session, and then another 10 minutes for us to get out. And it was like every time that timer would go off for us to actually leave the building, we would start hearing stuff, and, like, devices like REM pods and stuff would start going off when it had been quiet the whole session. It was like whatever was there was trying to keep us in there longer.
Yeah, they're like, don't go, we're still feeding off of you.
And then it was like, okay, like, at this point in time, like, I'm resetting timers, and I'm like, okay, guys, like, we've been in here now, like, 40 minutes, like, we need to go outside and take a break. And it was like more and more activity just kept happening, and we were like, holy crap. And then, like, we'd get outside, and then, like, I remember at one point in time, like, us all three looking at each other, and we're like, do we really want to go back in here? And we're all seasoned investigators. Like, this is what we live for. And, like, literally the feeling was so intense and so just malevolent. We were just like, do we really want to go back in there, or do we want to call it a night? Like, it was that bad.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, like, every time we would go outside, you remember, we could feel like we was being watched the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it was crazy, like, intense.
I mean, we were all on edge.
Did you guys feel
Yeah, I mean, like, going...
It was trying to draw you deeper and deeper in, and, like, it kind of reminds me of being in a casino. They don't have windows for a reason. They don't want you to know how long you've been there. And by the time you know it, you've been there for 5 or 6 hours.
Well, that place felt like you was walking into another dimension or something, you know?
Yep, it did that night. It really, really did. And I've been back in there since then, and, like, it's been fine. And it's been quiet, and it was just, like, it just felt like a happy place. But I don't know what it was. Like, that night, it was just like, holy hell.
So when you went back, did you have the same people with you, or do you think perhaps there was a certain person that was with you that could be haunted?
I mean, no, I went back with the same person. I'm not going to call her name. I don't know how she would feel about me doing that, but I've been with her to that location several times, and she was actually supposed to come with us that night and didn't wind up getting to come. But I don't really think it had anything to do with that. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it was about that night. I really, really don't. And I know what happened. Like, and actually, I wish Tommy was on here for this, because me and Tommy both got affected really bad, like, over the next week once we left that night. Like, I had crazy shit happen to me. Like, I got locked out of stuff, like, out of my eye. I don't even know how it happened. Got locked out of stuff at work. It was just, like, multiple, like, weird, crazy things kept happening, like, over the week. Like, And Tommy experienced kind of the same stuff, and me and him both were just, like, drained for, like, the whole week. Like, Josh, I don't think you got affected that week.
Well, I was kind of, like, I wasn't as bad as y'all, but I was kind of in a daze there for a little while, you know?
Yes, that's how I was. It was just like, am I here? Am I not here?
Yeah, it was like, you know, I'd be at work, and I felt like I was just on autopilot, you know, just, I didn't know what the hell was going on, you know?
Yep.
And I remember talking to Tom, and he was telling me what all happened to him. I'm like, well, shit, that ain't, you know, that ain't good.
Yep. I remember feeling that way, like, all week. Like, I would be doing something and just be like, is this real? Like, is this real time, or am I dreaming? Like, what's going on, you know?
That is so creepy. So,
yeah, another thing, I forgot about this, too. Like, I remember I would come home from work, and I would do nothing. I would just sit on the couch and just kind of stare for a while. I wouldn't do nothing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So you feel like something
I felt
came
like
home
that's
with
how
you?
my whole day was.
Or that's just how it affected you?
I think it's just the way that I was affected by it. I don't think anything followed me, or anything. I hope it didn't. I know Tommy said that, you know, he may have, like, it's possible something could have followed us, but we're not sure, you know.
I mean, we literally were saying prayers. Like, we said prayers before we went in that night. I think every time we came out for a break and went back in, we said a prayer that night. We said a prayer before we left. Like, it was that bad of energy, like, that we were doing these things. And I even had some Palo, and I don't know.
I love that stuff. It's good.
Me too, girl. Look, when I ordered my new stuff and it come in the mailbox, like, as soon as I got pulled up to the mailbox, I was like, "Ooh, my Palo's here," because I could smell it. But, like, yeah, I mean, we took all kinds of precautions that night, and it was still just, it was insane.
Man, I definitely want another crack at it. We might have to bring some extra people in for that one, but
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. That's why, like, the whole week before, I was, like, trying to prep y'all and, like, drill y'all with stuff and, like, study, because I was like, y'all are not going to be prepared for this. Like, this is what I'm trying to do, is prep y'all.
We was nowhere near prepared for that.
And then they got there, and I remember we were outside at one point in time taking a break, and they looked at me, and they were like, I don't think, like, no matter how hard, like, you tried to prep us, that we were ready for this.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I had a mindset going in there, but I was not prepared for any of that. I was not.
So how long have you and Tommy been a group, Josh?
Me and him actually formed our team in 2010. So we've been together for a long time.
Nice.
They're like two little peas in a pod.
Aww.
Yeah. Actually, it was his idea. He called me one day and said, "Hey, they got this Terror on the Coast event. Do you want to go?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" He told me who all was going, you know. And we knew David already just by following him on Facebook, and ever since then, you know, we've been meeting all these different people. We should have done that years ago.
Yeah, so...
yeah, I think that's kind of why they like having me there, is because I'm getting them into other things other than cemeteries.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Cemeteries is cool, but they're boring now, you know?
Yeah, like, who wants to hang out in a cemetery when they're dead? And yes, there's been a lot of evidence captured as far as pictures and such at times, but I don't know, I never used to do cemeteries in the past, and then the last couple times I've gone to see my mom and dad at the cemetery, there's been some weird stuff happening, not within the cemetery, but on the outer skirts. It's just so freaking creepy. I don't know what the hell's out there. It sounded sort of like an indigenous person, like a Native American or something that maybe is protecting that land. But yeah,
oh, wow.
that was crazy.
Well, see, cemeteries, we've caught a ton of evidence in cemeteries, you know. They are cool to collect things.
Well, we did one not too long ago. We didn't really have a whole lot happen. I mean, we got some stuff with the SLS. Do we really? I don't really think we got anything else.
Yeah, I think that was it. The little figures kept appearing in front of us.
Yeah.
I keep trying to add Tommy in here. I accidentally saved his number incorrectly, so it's just like being an ass. But I'm still trying. I forgot to put the 8 in. Sorry.
Yeah, you might want to try him periodically because he's at work, so if he's busy, he's probably not going to answer, but make sure you scream Twinkie Tingers if he answers.
Twinker Tingers.
Oh, yeah.
Twinkie Tingers.
He is definitely the one you got to feed before you go on an investigation with him.
Oh, my God. And if you take breaks, make sure you give him a Twinkie.
Does he get all angry? Here, have a Snickers.
No, his stomach does.
Aww.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally, he like, contaminates so much evidence with his stomach. Like, it's ridiculous.
I think I just heard a demon. No, that was just my belly.
That's Tommy. Oh, sorry, all my dogs are going crazy.
The hellhounds have been awoken.
Yeah, my pet is like, sometimes I just quit, and my little weenie is like, well, she's barking, but I'm not going off the porch to see what it is. I'll just stand here and bark.
Right?
Rosie.
Man,
what part of Colorado you're in?
I'm in the Four Corners area, so the southwest corner of Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How close are you to the Stanley Hotel?
I believe that's up north, so probably about 6 or 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
I've never been.
Well, we could all team up and do that.
Right? That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
We could so do that. That would be freaking amazing.
That's one of the places on my bucket list.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being kind of quiet because I'm trying to multitask, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. Like, man, how come I can't get him in here? I don't know. Like I said, the way I have him saved, it's not letting me go back to where I resaved it with the 8 in there, and I don't know. Now my ears are ringing. That's kind of weird. Something's happening. So, are either one of your guys' houses haunted, or have you guys ever brought anything home with you?
Me, no. I've never brought anything in my house. I don't think it's haunted. I don't think.
Well, as for me, I used to have a very haunted property, per se, which we moved, but I kind of feel like I just have spirits that, like, I guess you want to call them hitchhikers, that like to come and go. I think me, you, and Chris had this conversation. One night when you had Chris on your show, like, we were talking about that. About
I know, and
having...
that was crazy because I didn't even know it was you until you're like, girl, you know who I am. I was like, oh, shit. That's Lindie.
About, like, having hitchhikers. But I don't per se think, like, that my new house is haunted, but I feel like I do have, you know, certain people that are with me, not necessarily, like, making themselves known or anything, but
sorry,
just
but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Sorry, that's Tommy.
Goodbye.
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 His phone, like, it works like half the time, so that's probably what's going on.
Right. Well, I tried. At least, like, maybe he'll see the number and try to call back, and then we can get his take on things. So
yeah, I would like to hear his take on the hospital.
Right. So, Josh, have you always lived in Louisiana?
I have, born and raised.
Always been a coon ass. Look at you.
Yeah.
I was about to say he's a pony.
Yeah, my friend...
So, Josh, how do you feel about this investigation we have coming up? Like,
Ooh, where are you guys going?
it's a private client. I love private clients.
Yes.
Oh, the one for next weekend?
Yeah.
That's the one that they had a picture of a figure on a trail cam, I think.
Apparition. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like, light apparition. Like, it was cool.
I'm kind of interested to see what we can pick up on that.
What did it look like?
You know. It was literally like a full figure, but it was just light, and it was caught on a trail camera. But in the trail camera, it was crazy because she did this video and like sent it to us, and she's got this trail camera like on this light pole out in the middle of this field, like looking at like an old barn, and the trail camera's really low to the ground. But it's literally like a full. I mean, it's a person. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But it's see-through, but it's like light, like it's bright, like it's crazy.
So I'm wondering, like, if that barn was there before she moved there, or is that a barn they built? Because perhaps it could be like somebody that used to farm there or something.
Well, she said that. What exactly did she say? Did you read that message? Something about like back in the day they had workers come stay there, and there was actually like underground tunnels on the property.
I think so. I think that's what she was saying.
Something like that. But
like an underground railroad sort of thing, or could it be bootlegging?
No, it's more so for the workers to get back and forth from like the house to the barn, I guess, where they were staying.
That is
but
weird.
Yeah, it is. But she was saying like either her dad or grandpa or her husband's. There's people buried there,
Wow.
as well. So I don't know if it has ties to that or the actual people that used to work there. I'm not real sure, but we're going to try to find out.
Do you guys know who's buried there? Was it old workers or old family or what?
Well, that's what she was saying. Like, apparently, I don't know if it's her family or her husband's family, but somebody that they know is buried there from what she said. Now, as far as people, like, past that, I don't know. But
creepy. Why is everybody having houses with cemeteries? It was crazy. That reminds me of in Petty Grove, Arkansas, where I lived for a while after my mom passed away, and my dad sent me for a visit, and it wasn't a visit. It was just like, bye, man. But we used to go over to my cousin's house all the time, and we'd play hide and go seek and stuff. And I remember hiding in the dog hut that they had for when the dogs would go into heat. They'd lock them in there so the male dogs wouldn't impregnate them. And I got my ass stung off by some wasps. But last time I went up to see my parents at the cemetery up that road, there was actually a freaking cemetery there from like the Civil War. There was different soldiers and different people buried there right along the road. And I was like, how all those years did I not ever see that or know that that was there?
yeah.
That was insane. I
Wow.
was like, where the hell did that come from? Obviously, they've been there for a very long time, but I never even noticed it.
Never paid attention. And see, I'm the weirdo. Like when I'm traveling, I'm like, "Ooh, there's a cemetery," or "Ooh, that house looks haunted. We need to go investigate."
Yeah, we gotta go investigate there.
You ever see me and Tommy on a road trip? That's what we're constantly doing. Like, oh, that looks like a creepy place. We need to check that one out. You know.
Yeah.
And like it was bad if I travel places too. I'm like, "Ooh, there's an old cemetery. Let's go walk it." And like, I don't even want to go do like the touristy stuff. I'm like, let's go find a cemetery and check out the graves.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do on your free time? Oh, I go look at cemeteries and
I go visit dead
try to
people.
talk with kids.
I don't know how many times the other night that I said, thank you for your service, because there were so many military people buried there. I love that because a lot of military people will be buried in military cemeteries, but in regular old cemeteries or cemeteries in the middle of nowhere where there's soldiers, I'm just like, that is awesome. I'm glad they want to come back home instead of being, buried somewhere with a bunch of other soldiers. That for me would be uncomfortable.
Well, thank you for your service, by the way.
Aw,
I think I already told you that, but
thank you, Lindie. You're so sweet. You're so good to me.
I tried.
So we have about 5 minutes before we go to break. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on before we do go to our music break? To kind of tie up the ends of what we've been discussing? No? Well, I'm glad you guys... I'm glad you guys found each other because you guys both have, like, really awesome energy, and I think you guys working together, you're going to have some really awesome experiences, and you're going to help a lot of people, I think. I always ask this question, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but do you guys charge for your services, or you're totally volunteer?
Volunteer.
Good for you.
We would never charge.
Thank you for your service.
No.
There's so many people out there that need help, and I don't know if you guys noticed it or not, but since COVID hit, there's been an upsweep in paranormal activity.
It's gotten worse.
Yeah, as well as UFO sightings. We've had so many UFO sightings. It's been insane. I actually got some really good videos a few months ago, but yeah, paranormal activity, I don't know if it's because people are freaked out. There's a lot of frustration, irritation. People are losing their homes, etc.
I think it's just a lot of, like, unrest, too, with people. I mean, their loved ones are dying, and they haven't even been able to go in and, like, say goodbyes or even have, like, I know a lot of people aren't even having, like, proper funerals and stuff because of COVID. I think it's just a lot of unrest, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. But recently I read that they're actually allowing people now to go into nursing homes because you need that physical contact. You need that love to survive. To be separated from your people is like the worst thing ever. And so instead of having to see people through windows or talk to them on the phone, or perhaps if you have a nice phone, you can FaceTime them, but now they're allowing people to go in and have that physical contact and to give that love. So hopefully that's going to turn things around and help quite a bit on that industry as far as nursing homes go. But they really need to allow it in the hospital. If you want to risk your life to go see your loved one, that is up to you. It's free will, free agency. They should have the choice. If they want to get sick or could get sick, but they would rather be there, they should be able to. Like, it's inhumane not to allow it, I think.
Yep. Yes, 100%.
How has it been going as far as COVID in your guys' area?
Well, it's definitely gotten better in my area. I think we had a lot of numbers at one time, but they've come down a lot. So
all I got to say is my youngins have been back in school full time.
Oh, yes.
So it's great.
I know, last year I called it homeschool hell. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Okay, I'm ready. You guys ready for school? It's like 3 o'clock. We got to get this shit done.
That's like the virtual assignments or whatever, but like this new age math shit that they do.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I can't help you. You better Google something.
Yeah, and they do have like online tutors.
Now I know it's still.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's still hard to find workers.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Still have an issue with that. So.
I think that's everywhere because all this free money they've been getting.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to work or take like pride in their work anymore. I struggle with that. Like I have workers, but they
kind of freaked out.
She's been doing her own thing today. She's been gone with her little boyfriend and friend, church, and doing a whole bunch of church activities. She came home for a little bit, but like my son's had like a whole group of kids over here, and they've made like this big trail in the woods with the four-wheelers, and they took them, bless their little hearts, they were out there with shovels and hoes today digging out trenches, coming up here, filling up water jugs, and taking it down there where they can make a mud hole for their four-wheelers.
Oh,
I was like, more power to y'all. So they had a good old time while I was like up here cleaning the house today and threatening them if they came inside with their muddy clothes on after I just swept them up. I was like, y'all are stripping in the yard. Do not come in my house.
Right. Well, on that note, you guys, we do have to go to our first musical break. So on this break, we have Mr. Brick Casey with Mr. Cellman, kind of like a remix on Mr. Telephone Man back in the day. And then we have Mystique with I Want It All, as well as If I Slip, and then we have Mocha Tea with Future Plan. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Hello? I'm trying to call my baby, but it's poor reception, though. 'Cause she ain't picking up. Hello? Hello? Listen, Mr. Operator. I've been up all day and I'm trying to dial my baby's number. See, it only rings straight to the machine. 617. Now I know something must be wrong with this cell phone, 'cause my baby knows she wouldn't hang up on me. So tell me what's going on. I see most of the time phone only ring twice. How you doing, boo? Cool, how's your date? Nice. Now she ain't picking up, plus a text her. Put it to your plane, she's the one to get next to. It's not just the way it's all day with affection. I'm hoping this detection is poor reception. Straight to the machine, mean it's like clicking my car, get connected quick. I'm saying, hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? I see the phone rings quite a few times before any answer. And I know she's home, well at least till 3. And I know she's home. Now I don't mean to be any bother operator, but could you just check and connect this call for me? 'Cause I know she's on. Now see, the first time I call, I'm like, maybe she working. And the second time I call, I'm like, little bit hurting. But the third time I call, I'm like, going berserk. And now half a day gone, can't get her on the horn. Usually in the morning, maybe it's something wrong. I mean, she wouldn't take this long to call back. See, we tight like that, she's supposed to be mine. So could you please try it one more time? Hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? For some reason, it's like she ain't home. Just wanna get my baby on the phone. Now I know that she's there all alone. So can you please hook up my cellular phone? Hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? Why she ain't picking up, yo?
Yeah, okay. I want it all. Even if you stepping out of bounds, keep ballin'. I want it all. Diamonds and cars, building big yachts, close up the stars, buying the bars. On it is ours. I want it all, big or small. No more of a downfall. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I could sign your baseball. Money making it rain fall on a big mall. Owning the whole block, driving to the mailbox. Cruising in my yacht, I gotta get up out this box. I want it all. I always knew that I would be rich, don't doubt for a minute. Speaking to existence, hoping and feeling to give away a million. Just be chilling in the tallest building. Say hello to the mission and vision with me. Hello. Watch cost about 150 Rolex diamond luxury sitting next to Movado model, cocky before the arrival. Lamborghini with bass high, I could hear it all. Sit back, sun roof up, is the stars. High performance cars, super Brumfield Park, obstacles to enter. A lot more for the kids, recreation centers. I want it all. Red bricks, cream coated, painted marble fountain as I pass. Walking the stone path, heated pool. Home theater for all of my family. Wanna do it for my city. Can't wait to see the chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. I want it all. Diamonds and cars. Building big yachts, close up the stars. Buying the bars. Own it is ours. I want it all. Big or small. No more of a downfall. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I could sign your baseball. Money making it rain fall on a big mall. Owning the whole block. Driving to the mailbox. Cruising in my yacht. I gotta get up out this box. I want it all. I'm inside of a dungeon. Life involves repercussions. Could the consequences leave me boxed up feeling suction? How could this bad mistake have me thinking ways to escape? Catching the case, wanting it all has been replaced. Look at a cellmate face. I know they can't relate. I know trust in the soul. Heck no, it's to stay safe. Up in the place where my food is cold on my plate. It ain't no breaks. It's a time to concentrate. Watching my back. Got stabbed by too many snakes. Who times dragged against the bars is a rude away. Mind race, body cold, hard to embrace. The situation made me think, why did I misbehave? And common sense of being solved in so many ways. During the problem thoughts, drop forgot I want it all. Forgot I had a dream to rule it. Forgot to remember that all my fans had a bra that I can have it all. I want it all, staring at the walls. Walking down the halls, wait for my collect. Call supposed to be at a concert hall. On stage. Instead, I want it all behind bars. Can't reach for a star. It's a fear. I want it all. 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 Diamonds and cars. Diamonds and cars. Building big yards. Building big yards. Close up the stars. Close up the stars. Buying the bars. Buying the bars. On it is on. On it is on. I want it all. I want it all. Big or small, no more of a downfall. I want it all. Diamonds and cars. Building big yards. Close up the stars. Buying the bars. On it is ours. I want it all. I want big it all. Big or small, no more of a downfall. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I could sign your baseball. Money making it rain fall on a big mall. Owning the whole block. Driving to the mailbox. Cruising in my yacht. I gotta get up out this bodice. I want it all. Mystique. Mystique. Mystique.
Boca T, let's get it. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. How could you love a man who never been loved? How could you show him something he so used to lust? I know I'm young, but I know I can be the one. If he open up his eyes and know I'm the one he can trust. Support and good loving is all a nigga need. All that bullshit niggas give you is a test to see if you'll leave. And if you leave, you are not a strong queen. Cause a queen will stay still, pray and be there for her king. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. I love the way he carry himself. I love his swagger. He had me at happily ever after. No fairy tale, this man I really wanna capture. A peek at you, got my heart beating faster. No road runner, but you got my mind racing. Still can call you up and don't know what to say. My friends might say I'm dumb, my friends might say I'm stupid. Then again, why take advice from single women? Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Future plan is to get you, boy. You all that I think about when I get you. I'ma treat you right, keep you close to my heart. Let's create a kingdom and have a Prince Wednesday. Build an empire, a dream I desire. Like Candy Crush on the Monday. Got butterflies feeling funny. Blunt out the blunt, can't get no higher. Like a fiend who needs sexual healing. Boy, bless me with that business. You're my teacher, you got my undivided attention. Boy, would you come my way and answer a simple question?
I got dreams and ambition, I'm ready and I'm willing, I'm meeting this competition. You don't wanna be my dinner. The whole shift changed when the music bang. Love the look on their face. I got dreams and ambition, I'm ready and willing, I'm meeting this competition. You don't wanna be my dinner. The whole shift changed when the music bang. I just love to see the look on their face. And if I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I got dreams and ambition, man. If I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I'm ready and willing, even if I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I'm meeting this competition. If I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. You don't wanna be my dinner. I'm about to do this to death, cause I know they watching. Don't understand the talking, tell that dog to quit barking. I'm an entrepreneur, so correct when you talking. Bet I get it back and take a loss to be a boss. Coming fast and I'm switching lanes with it, crisscross. Never messing with you, rapping ratchets, what you really thought. And my jab steady dreaming, chasing missions for the fam. Understand I'm flowing lands from the Milwaukee brand. Thought you knew you can't wear my shoes, not do what I do. It's a mob, I don't pick or choose, just sticking to the rules. Keep my beats above and beneath. They know I'm beauty. What you need, I got what you need. When it come to it, who been grinding all winter, so the summer extra lit. I've been in and out the booth trying to weigh up my greatness. It ain't no time to play with it, and if I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I got dreams and ambition, man. If I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I'm ready and willing, even if I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I'm eating this competition. If I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. You don't wanna be my dinner.
With great precision, I'm on a mission. Lots of ambition, my transition. The time was ticking, willing and wishing. Just listen, I punch harder than Sonny Liston. They fishing, looking for teeth. It look like Lipton. They tripping. I am the king, whose competition? Collisions, conclusion is I'm in a position, lifting, transcending beyond their comprehension. Time to hang it up, swaggerific, the lynchman. You know how this goes. Just follow the street codes. We make it look easy, like we putting in cheat codes. Beauty and the beast is in beast mode. Haters on the sidelines, I tell them to keep score. I go crazy on the beat, tell Spaz to keep it low. You know my sleep close with a toaster. You won't toast?
And if I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I got dreams and ambition, man. If I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I'm ready and willing, even if I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. I'm meeting this competition. If I slip, I'ma bounce right back, cause I was born for this. You don't wanna be my
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight, we are joined by Lindie and Josh from the Tangiphoa Parish Paranormal Society. Welcome back, guys, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight.
It's always fun hanging out with you.
And Josh,
I'm glad you said the name right.
The what?
I'm going to need Tessa to give Eileen some, pronunciation lessons on how to say Tangiphoa.
Well, you taught me well. Go ahead, Josh. What were you saying? Josh, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm glad you said it right. You said the name right.
I know earlier I was like Tangiphoa, and she's like, no, you got to say it a little slower. I spelt it wrong, but I went back and corrected the ad because I realized that I had spelt it wrong. Therefore, I was saying it wrong. I should have just looked at autocorrect, but generally that's my arch nemesis, so I never listened to that. So I'm always misspelling things that I want to spell a certain way. But yeah, it was correct that time. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys are here, and I'm so glad you guys are a group now. Are you happier with this group, Lindie?
I really had no, once they actually asked me to join them, there was really no hesitation because, I already was, out on my own, doing stuff, and, every time I've ever investigated with them, it's just been fun. It's just been laid back, chill, just a good time, and I was, pulling them in on stuff that I had going on, so, when they kind of asked me to, join their group, I was like, it's just right. We just all have fun, and we all are in it for the same reasons. It's just been a good ride. Yeah,
I think it turns out pretty well when you are having a good time, and people are like, "Oh, that's so disrespectful. Bless your pointed little heads." But I think laughter and different energy like that is very productive when it comes to certain spirits. They like it. They miss that sort of interaction, so they're willing to join because they're like, hey, that looks like fun, instead of somebody being serious or antagonistic or whatever. You guys don't antagonize spirits, right? You go in with a certain amount of respect because, these are people too.
Of course. Yes, of course.
So Josh,
now, I've been 2 locations, and Magnolia House is for one of those locations where I've kind of had to been, what do you say I was, Josh? I was very stern at one point and was like, I need you 2 assholes to back up and quit talking to me. I'm not even trying to talk to you anymore. I'm trying to talk to this spirit, and y'all 2 just need to sit back and shut up.
Sit in those chairs over there. Be quiet. I'll talk to you later.
Given the situation, though, I had to tell them, I just had to be upfront and be like, y'all 2 just need to sit back and hush your mouth. I'm done talking to y'all. But they were being very disrespectful, so.
Yeah, we have a spirit over at the railroad train station named Walter. He was a brakeman, and he was a really big asshole. He killed a guy, which in turn made a lady kill herself because she felt like it was her fault. But after she was released from a prayer of purgatory from, of all things, a school class, a Catholic school class, they released her from purgatory. And then 3 months later, she came back because there's a little girl there named Emmy. Have I ever sent you that picture, Lindie, with Kate Johnson trying to get out of the picture, and then the little girl sitting there staring at the camera like, how dare you take my picture? She looks so peeved off. But she came back.
God, you have to send me that.
Yeah, she came back to help Emmy because every time we tried to talk to her to figure out what her story was and how to release her, I think she's looking for her parents or something. The brakeman would come in there, and like you said, he was a total jerk. He'd sit there and cuss and offend her and attack her, and then she'd leave and he'd stay and keep talking shit to us. We're women, so he's talking down to us. And it was just not cool. I really hate that guy. And I also, at one time, brought in a medium that was known for releasing spirits because we're like, we need to get this asshole out of here. And he's like,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go, and due to free will, I'm not going to make him go. I'm like, he needs to fucking go. This guy needs to get out.
Now. Like yesterday.
Yeah. He's like, nope, sorry, I can't do it. I was like, really? And you
Well,
call
that's,
yourself
like,
a release medium?
These spirits, like, that we were dealing with that night, like, it was so crazy because, like, the whole night, like, it had been kind of quiet. And, finally, like, we were like, we're going to swap it up a little bit. We're going to let Lindie do some sensory. And they were like, where do you want to go? And I was like, well, I want to go up here, like, which we can't go in the room that I was drawn to. Like, and I'd been in that room all night. I'd done scared the crap out of one of the girls on our team, like, several times coming out of that room. She's like, I didn't know you're in there. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just drawn here. But I was like, we can go sit outside the room in the hallway. And, you know, like, normally in sensory, like, you have people, like, elsewhere, like, asking questions or whatever. Well, they didn't even have time to ask questions because these spirits, like, literally just started talking to me. And it was multiple spirits coming through. And they started giving me a play-by-play of events. And it was horrific. Like, things, it was a female, and then there was at least 3 guys coming through, which one I think was, like, her boyfriend, but the other 2 are the ones that did these horrible things to her. And, like, a lot of what they were saying, I didn't even want to say out loud, you know, because here I am, like, we had, what, like, 3 or 4 girls there, and then there's 2 guys, and I'm like, this stuff I don't want to spit out with these 2 guys sitting here, you know? But it just kept on and kept on and kept on.
I found the name
and
for
it was
that.
crazy.
It's called the Gansfield Experiment. And that's where you wear a blindfold in the noise quieting headphones.
Well, what was crazy about it is, like, Josh and them had been to this location before. This was my first time ever there. And the guy was, like, taking us around, and he had mentioned this well and these unmarked graves on the backside of the property. Well, he had never mentioned these graves or the well before that night. And it just so happened in sensory that night, the girl starts talking about the well and how we needed to go to the well. So we stopped sensory upstairs and go down by the well to do sensory again. And, like, literally, like, they had to pull me out. Like, I was in tears because of the stuff, like, that these men had done to this girl. And she literally, like, they did it. Like, I get, oh my God, it, like, just even thinking about it right now makes me want to cry. Like, it was horrific. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah,
and, like, they pulled me out.
But I'm getting goosebumps. I'm just like, holy crap.
Like, yeah, it was bad. And, like, I finally was like, okay, like, I want to go back upstairs and I want to address these assholes. And, like, I don't even want to talk to them anymore. Like, I just want, because, like, at this point in time, they were just overriding her. And I was like, I want to talk to her. Like, I want to help her, you know? Like, and so I literally had to go back in and tell them, like, y'all two, back the fuck up. Stop talking to me and let her talk, you know? Like, and I had to be reasonable that they were just like, oh, they were so bad. So bad.
Yeah, they took her power before her, so they're going to continue to try to overtalk her and not let her speak her piece or, you know, have her say.
It, like, just the things, like, I mean, it was literally like a play-by-play. Like, she was telling me something, and they were telling me something, and she was agreeing with it. She was like, they did that. And, like, by the end of that second one, like, I mean, I was bawling my eyes out. And I could literally feel everything that they had done to this girl. And, like, they wound up pulling me out, and they were like, are you sure you want to go back into sensory? I was like, I sure do. I sure do. I was like, because they... What, Josh?
I was just saying that was a serious moment when she was in there doing that.
Yeah, you could just feel it, right? You could feel the energy and everything going on and how it was affecting her. That would be so hard. I'm glad you guys pulled her out because you're only supposed to do the Estes method for a certain amount of time because if you stay in there too long, things can attach to you and it can affect you for a long time.
You start channeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, like, that house, like, it's such a mystery, though, because even, like, when we've gone back to research that house, like, there's no information on this house. And this house has, like, what, 3 or 4 different names that it's gone by? Like,
yeah.
I've even tried to go to the Historical Society, and they act like they don't even know what house I'm talking about, but yet there's a historical marker in the front yard. Like,
right.
It's just, like, it's like the mystery house. Like, there's nothing about this place makes sense. Nothing.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff they try to sweep under the rug, and I know today, like, realtors, a lot of them won't tell you. But I think people should know the history of a place and what they're really getting into, because a lot of people are sinking in their life savings into places like this, and then basically getting fucked because you can't really live in a place like this, like, and be a healthy individual. It causes certain things to happen.
Now, that was also the same night that we was sitting in the living room area and we heard like heavy footsteps right above us.
Above us, yep.
That was crazy. Right?
But, like, this house, like, it's a big antebellum home. And, like, most of those homes have, like, a basement, right? There's no entrance to a basement, outside or inside.
If there's an entrance, we're going to find it. We will find it.
That's what I'm thinking, too. But, I don't know. It's, like, the more research, like, I've tried to do on this location, the more confused I end up. And that's the best way I know to put it, because, like, it's literally got, like, 3 or 4 different names. The people that own it now, like, it's basically, like, no information really on them. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. And, like, the stories, like, we've been told about the house don't add up to what we've actually gotten in an investigation or what we've actually found. So, I don't know. It's crazy.
So they've kind of, like, sewn different history to it that isn't true, and they're trying to clear it up. Or she's trying to tell you what happened to her. Who knows what else happened, like who else died and what other souls are there. But you definitely have those that you were talking about. Holy crap. Have you guys been able to release spirits? Let them know that they can go? Like, you don't have to stay here. You're not stuck. You can go. Like, go to the light. I'll open the door. And I've seen different groups do, like, where they put a REM pod or something in the doorway. And that shows, like, when they go out, they'll stand there and be like, use our energy or whatever you need to get out the door. We're allowing you to leave because you do not have to stay here. But a lot of them think they do, whether it's another presence keeping them there or you know, their belief system as far as purgatory and such.
Yeah. I've actually crossed spirits over. I don't know that Josh and them have, but I have.
No, we haven't. We've never done that.
I think I'm the only one in our group at this point that has.
Yeah. Now we when we went with, you know, Howard Petrie, the one that's coming with us next weekend.
Yeah.
Well, we got to see him and his group cleanse a house. We never been a part of that either. So that was interesting to see.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll investigate a house and then we'll cleanse it, but we've never really done the passing over of the spirit thing. Like, you can leave. You don't have to stay here. A lot of them don't know that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've done both, and actually for me, instead of me doing a cleansing, if it's a private client, I like to give them instructions on how to cleanse their own house, because that's their space.
Yeah,
they need to be the ones, you know, making the demands of their property is kind of how I feel about it. So a lot of times, like, I will leave them the tools, whether I leave them some Palo, some verses to read, kind of give them some instruction on how to do it. It's kind of the way I like to do it, unless it's like a serious case and like, or, you know, like the homeowner or whatever just doesn't want to do it. They feel more comfortable with me doing it, then I'll do it. But I figure before it's over with, I'll have Josh and Tommy doing a little bit of that.
Right?
Probably so.
Well, it's good to learn and grow, you know. Add things to your, you know, assortment there.
I think I drive them nuts with, like, the homework and stuff I give them. Like,
well, see,
you was actually the first one that kind of introduced it. Like, we'd heard of Palo and stuff like that, but we never. You was the first one to kind of introduce us to it, you know.
Yeah. And see, I'm like, I don't know, I come with like a whole bag full of crystals and Palo and sage.
Yeah, see, we've never been around that.
What for this one?
What about sweetgrass? It was weird, a place up in Boston, just north of Pettigrew, Arkansas, where we have a valley that some of our family lives in. There was a spirit there, really nice old man, but he got really pissed off when we were moving. He didn't want us to leave. but my brother said that he found like a rope of sweetgrass braided in the attic, and they took it down.
Oh, wow.
And then after that is when a lot of activity started happening. But I think that is another thing that I've never used. I will always, like you said, used Palo Santo and sage to clear and cleanse places. Palo Santo is my finishing step. Sage is my first step. And then also salt is a good one too. Make sure you put it down your drains, because shit can hide in really weird places. Sweetgrass, I've never used it, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
I have not either. But I'm big into my stones and whatnot. And what's crazy, talking about the hospital, as a matter of fact, the last time we were going to the hospital, like, I have certain stones that I carry with me on every investigation, like, that have been with me since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I came back from the hospital, put my stones somewhere, could not find them before we went to the hospital. What was that, the last time? Oh, I think I went with y'all. And I was freaking out. Like, I literally messaged the group, and I was like, I'm not coming unless I find these. Like, this is not a good sign right now. Like, if I cannot find these, like, I won't be there. You are going to be there on your own tonight. Like, I was, like, in panic mode. But I found them, and it was all good.
I wonder what would have happened if you wouldn't have found them.
Right?
I wouldn't have paid. And, like, it was so crazy because they were in, like, the strangest spot, and it was, like, I have certain places, like, I have certain stones, like, it's just me, I guess, and I have certain ones that I keep pretty much on my person or close to my person at all times, and so when I actually found them, I was like, why in the world, like, but I think it was, like, what that place had did to me, like, of being in a daze and me just doing crazy shit when I came back. I don't know. Because I was doing a whole lot of strange crap every time I came back from that location.
Yeah, something moved it.
And not remembering a lot of it.
Trying to keep you from being protected. Do you use stones, or what sort of protective methods do you use, Josh, when you go out?
Well, Lindie gave us some stones at the hospital. But we've never really had any protection, really.
Yeah, see, I've kind of introduced them to that. So I've kind of introduced them into some of that, but I wasn't letting them go in the hospital without some black tourmaline. I was like, y'all are putting this on y'all. Keep it on y'all. Do not take it off of y'all while we're in here.
Yeah.
So
I definitely carry tourmaline. The other night when I went out, I had tourmaline in my secondary jacket pocket, but I never ended up using it. So it stayed in the Jeep the whole time, but I never felt like I needed it. I think had I felt I needed it, I have it in this little coily thing that you can wear on a necklace, but it's not on a chain anymore. I have that connected with my St. Michael medallion, and I generally carry that with me. But I like selenite as well, and then amethyst just for my anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was having an anxiety attack like right before we started the show, and you're like, it's going to be okay. And I'm just like, I don't know, some sort of wave of energy just came over me like right before I called you, and I was like, I don't know if you could hear me breathing weirdly or whatever, but I was just like, holy fuck. And you're like, it's okay.
I could. That's why I was like, calm down. Yeah, I keep amethyst under my mattress, like at the head of my bed.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really good for your dreams and sleep.
So what stones do you carry? I know you carry tourmaline, but do you have an assortment of stones that you carry? Can you tell us what they are and what they do?
You really don't want me to go on about the different stones I have.
Well, it's interesting because our musical host, Roy Washington, we did a show together on Friday. I think it's a pre-recording. He might be playing it this weekend. But he said his friend at work keeps giving him stones. And he's like, dude, I got so many stones in here that this guy keeps giving me. And I told him, like, different protective methods that I use and that I take stones with me. And I'll also say a St. Michael prayer before I leave. If you do it before an investigation, it really messes things up where nothing really happens. But afterwards, it's a good thing to do. Yeah, he's like, oh, really? Like, what exactly do they do? And I told them the ones that I carry and what I know they do, but what do you carry?
To be honest, since my little experience in the mountains, a stone that I keep on me at all times now is, actually it's 2 stones. It's going to be malachite and it's going to be an emerald, and that's for Archangel Raphael. Since I met a freaking angel in the mountains, and she pretty much told me, like, Raphael's with me and I need to keep those stones on me. And those are pretty much the main 2 stones I keep on me, which I always pretty much have some black tourmaline or some moonstone or, I don't know, I carry a variety of stones, and there are some that I swap out depending on my mood when I wake up. It just really depends on the day and where my emotions are at, I guess.
Do you cleanse them, like, on a full moon and stuff?
I do.
I don't do that. I'm so bad about it. And my daughter, Kinsey, she's now 22, and she's she's like, I'm going to make some moon water, and I'm going to cleanse my stones, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't do that. I just carry all this shit with me.
My kids normally will come out with me and make moon water and stuff, which I have, like, a whole process, like, with cleansing my stones and stuff like that I do, just kind of like a time of meditation that I don't know. It's just kind of me time and talking to the moon, and depending on what moon phase, depending on what affirmations I'm trying to get from that moon, kind of depends on my meditation time with my stones. But moon water is like a must, and cleansing your stones is a must, and not necessarily under the moon, but like even when I went to the mountain, yes, I took stones with me to the waterfall, and I cleansed them there. You just have to be careful what stones you put in water, because some stones do not like water. But yes, like cleansing stones are a must, and they, you know how like you have like your soul keepers in the paranormal world. Stones are kind of the keeper of energy. So if those stones have been harvesting negative energy, you want to cleanse them to release that, to where they can meet their full potential of what they're actually supposed to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But I still don't do it.
Like,
I always just space it out. I got so much shit on my plate. I'm like, okay, I need to start doing this stuff. And moon water, I've never done it. But could you imagine if you did moon water during this last eclipse on the full moon? Holy shit.
I know.
Like, what is that going to do? Yeah. Like, I kind of wish I did make some moon water when that happened and drink it and see if I get some, weird superpower or something.
But I know life is crazy, but like it literally takes like 5 minutes for you to make some moon water and put it out, for you to put your crystals out and leave it there. Like it's literally 5 minutes, girl. Take the time to do it. Like I can't stress that enough. Like take the time to do it.
I was thinking Josh's name was Scott or something like that. All the timers. I have that. But yeah, I'll work on it. I'll pinky promise. I'll work on it.
But not even just moon water, though. Sun water is really good, too. Storm water is really good. Like, not just moon water.
Well, sun water, that's funny, because my mom used to make tea, and she'd sit it outside and let the sun cook it. Yes, it was the best.
God. Yes. It's amazing. It is. Actually, me and a friend of mine were just talking about that the other day. Because he was, like, at a campsite or whatever, and I was like, because he was, like, boiling his water, and I was like, why don't you just make sun tea? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're doing all this extra work. Like, just make some sun tea.
He's like, I need it right now. No, sun tea is the best. And I don't know what exactly she used. I think it was those little purple flowers that kind of grew off clovers that she would use or something. But it was the best tea I ever freaking had. It was so freaking good. And talking to my siblings, I was only like 5, almost 6 when she passed away.
Sorry, my son.
Oh, that's all right. But my siblings told me that they found like a spell book that they read from, and they think like they caused some havoc doing that, and that our mom was into witchcraft. I know she could see the dead. She'd go and smoke joints and talk to the dead at the cemetery on her free time, She was up to some stuff, so maybe she was feeding us some sun water. We didn't realize, we just thought it was sun tea. Yeah, maybe she had some different thing going on with us, trying to protect us and do whatever else.
And
what
actually,
exactly does sun water do?
It's, God, I don't even know where to start with this. Like, how to explain it?
Is it just like a positive energy thing? Like it's good for the
Yes,
soul,
it is.
etc.?
It is. It's kind of like a renewing of the spirit, I guess you should say. I don't know, like how to phrase it. Let me think on that, on how to like phrase it to where it makes sense. But I'm actually collecting some storm water right now because I want to take some storm water with me to the hospital to help kind of banish some of the bad that's there.
Okay. So now I'm like, what does stormwater do? It's funny because here in Colorado, if you used to collect water off your roof like we used to in Arkansas, that's illegal. It used to be. And then they finally passed a law where you can do it now. But I was just like, fucking seriously?
Too, that it's illegal in some states. Because shoot, like, I mean, I used to catch it to water my flowers, water my garden, you know, like, come on now.
So you want to take it to the hospital. What does it do?
Storm energy is just, it's pretty powerful, and it can help us, like, gain some energy and strength to fight off what's there, basically. Because we're dealing with, Lord, to be honest, I don't even really know exactly what all we're dealing with at the hospital. Several different things. And I feel like at the hospital, too, we're going to have to call upon the good spirits there, too, to kind of help banish what's there.
Yeah, it's crazy with hospitals and psych wards and churches that they're like no longer active. They're kind of abandoned. Things will come in there and take over and feed off the other spirits.
Josh, how many like malevolent spirits do you think are in the hospital?
Maybe 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. 5. I think that. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards 5 myself, but I think there is a leader, and I think it's going to be a doozy to get rid of his ass.
Well, it's almost like, you know, each one has their own floor type thing.
Yeah.
Or different wing they controlling, you know?
Yeah.
And then you got the lead over all of them.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on the Hat Man at all?
The Hat Man?
Mm-hmm.
I have sensed something kind of like that there, but that place is, like, there's just, like, everywhere you turn, it's, like, something else, like, coming. Like, the last time we were there, like, literally, like, I was, like, wanting to stay, like, right next to them because, like, it was just, like, I didn't want to have, like, I was either with my back up against a wall. Like, I did not want to be, like, freestanding in the room. I didn't want to have my back to a door.
Yeah.
Like, it was that bad. And, like, I mean, I was literally keeping track of, like, the ceilings, the floors. Like, it was just, like, chaos. Like, you were in a freaking washing machine. Like, it was crazy.
Well, like you said, it's coming out of the walls. It's coming out of the floors. Go ahead, Josh.
We really didn't make it far in the hospital that night. We didn't go too far into it because we had a timer on.
Yeah. I mean, originally we did doing the walkthrough, but, like, I don't know if we would have, like, even, like, getting up to the second floor, I don't know if any of us would have even made it up there because we were all like, do we even really want to go back in?
Yeah.
So do you think you might, like, amp up your timer instead of every 10 minutes, maybe every 30 or maybe every hour you go out?
Well, to be honest, we were in there like I say, we were setting timers at that, but that was with me resetting timers because literally every time, like, I was like 10 minutes us getting to where we were going and say 15 or 20 minutes, like, doing a session, and then it was like the timer would go off and then crazy activity would start and I would reset timers for another 20 minutes. Right. So, I mean, we were literally in there probably, like, 45 minutes, you know, like, I mean, we were in there for a good amount of time, but it was like whatever was there, it was like quiet during session, but like the moment we were wanting to like kind of go take our break, it was like, nope, you want to stay, like, and just shit went haywire. Like, I mean, knocks down the hall or REM pods going off, or, I mean, it was just crazy.
So Josh, you were saying after this you would go home and you just sit there and kind of zone out. Did you feel like Lindie said earlier, that when you went in there, it was kind of like another realm or another world? Did it feel like that to you too? Kind of unreal?
It did. It just felt like, I don't know, like the hospital, when you went into it, it was a whole another world inside. And, you know, like whenever we left and I came home, you know, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was just kind of here. I was kind of empty, I guess you could say, you know.
Yeah, there but gone.
But it was, even standing outside the hospital that night, though, I mean, it felt like every window of that hospital, somebody was standing in it, like, staring at us.
Well, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
all eyes on us.
Ew. Go ahead, Josh. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was just saying, like, definitely, that was the definite feeling that we was getting when we walk out. If we was facing it, you know, we could feel it, or if we had our back to the building, we could feel that on our back, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
And even, like, we went in and just set up equipment, like, right when you walk in, like, in kind of like the nurse's station area, like, right by the ER entrance or whatever. And do you remember, like, that noise, like, that Tommy heard in his ear? And, like, my ear started hurting. It was like a mirror image, like, of what he had. And, like, I heard it, and then, like, it felt like somebody, like, coming up to your ear and, like, blowing air, like, really hard into your ear is what it felt like.
I remember that, yeah. Because I remember, like, he asked me if I heard it, which I didn't. I had my attention off to the other side of the room, so I didn't hear, you know.
It was like,
but it was crazy because
somebody whispering, like, right into your earball, or what was that?
It was almost like a hiss, kind of, but like, to me, like, when my ear started hurting, it was almost like somebody had blown, like, a bunch of air, like, really hard into my ear. And it was crazy because the ear that he heard that in, it was like I was mirror imaging that. You know what I'm saying? As far as what I was feeling. Like, it was crazy. And, like, I was literally standing there with my back up against the wall because I didn't want to turn anywhere else, you know?
Yeah. I even do that in restaurants. Like, I want to be facing the door. I don't want my back to a bunch of people because, I don't know, like you said, that feeling, if people are looking at you, or you can feel something on you. But, yeah, the whole air thing, that is creepy. Like, why?
Well, normally, like, it doesn't bother me at most locations to stand there. Like, I had a private client, like, that we were at, and it was right after Rampart, actually, which is crazy. But I was standing in the doorway and had my back towards the hall, and I kept just feeling like this bad energy, like, rushed me from behind. And, like, the first time it happened, I was like, Lindie, you're just on edge from Rampart. Like, let it go. Like, have a good night, you know. Well, it kept happening, and finally I was like, nope, screw this. I was like, I am not standing in this doorway anymore, not now. And, I mean, I've stood like that in the hospital, like, in doorways, and kind of been keeping, you know, look down the hall and in the room. But, like, that night, I did not want to have any part of that.
I don't know anybody that really likes hospitals. I've never liked hospitals. I don't like going to the doctor unless I really, really have to. If I'm about to die, I'll go. Or if I feel like there's something wrong with me, I'm going to go soon because my heart has been really weird lately. But my daughter, we went into the old Mercy Hospital here. They now have a new one that the Ute Indians gave, like, they donated to build nursing homes and hospitals. And I'm like, okay, what's going on there? That's kind of weird, especially things that I've witnessed there. But the old hospital, my daughter, I was carrying her through. We're going to the records station to get records for my brother-in-law, and she kept, like, pulling up her feet and, like, moving left and right, and it was like somebody was trying to, you know, touch her or assault her or whatever. And I'm like, what's going on? And she said, there's people reaching out of the wall and people reaching out of the floor trying to touch me. And then we came up to a empty wheelchair in the hallway. Fucking creepy. Why is that even there? I don't know. But she's like, there's a broken man in that wheelchair. There's a broken man. And I'm like, oh my God. let's get these records and get the hell out of here because I am not comfortable. And my poor kid, she's being traumatized right now. When I used to go see my dad in the hospital, she said there was a lady that was reaching out of the wall trying to touch her head. And so, I took her out and I just went back by myself. But so creepy, the different energies and things that hang out at hospitals. It's like, why are you here? Go home or go somewhere. Like, why are you in the hospital? And then there's different things that feed on people there and nursing homes. Go ahead, Josh.
Did you tell her about the murder that happened in that hospital?
Oh, shit.
No. You can tell her.
What was it, 1978, I think?
That was a good year.
There was a lady that was murdered in the basement of the hospital. And what we was reading, they never found the killer.
They never found the killer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was a doctor.
I don't know. They got away with murder. But that hospital's so weird. Like, even though, like, I've gone and had the experiences I've had there, like, as soon as I leave, I'm ready to go back. Like, literally, like, I would go up there every day if I could. Like, I'm just drawn to that place. And that's probably not a good thing. But.
Yeah, I was about to say, that could be a bad thing, because a lot of times when that happens, it's something negative. It's like, come back, because it loves your energy. It wants to feed off of you. Oh, I have somebody calling in. Who the crack is this?
Is it Tommy?
It's a 210 number. I don't think it is Tommy. 210, who are we talking to?
Hi, Tessa. It's me. It's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey. Hello. Hey, Chris.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say...
I'm so glad you came on.
I was going to say hi, Lindie.
Hi.
So I'm happy to say I'm proud of you to be on the show.
I've been trying to get her on here forever, but there's been so much shit going on in the world. It's been hard, and I was like so surprised when she's like, "Let's do it this Sunday." I'm like, seriously? Yes. I was so happy.
Yeah.
Well, like, I always try to make time for like stuff like this because I just love it. But like trying to get them boys on board, it's like, dang. So we all have like busy schedules and different lives and different things going on. But like, after like messaging the group like so many times, especially like with like locations and podcasts and stuff, finally I'm like, okay, like I'm just setting this date. Like y'all figure it out.
Well, that was the best way to do it.
No, but I just wanted to say I'm very proud of you. And you're growing, and it's crazy because you know what's funny? I actually felt like, I don't know if it was one of you that said from your call or it was like something telepathic, just to call you guys and say that, then I just want to say I'm very proud of you and everything that you do. It's serious. It's really not something that that you mess with because it's like, you have a different aspect than what you do. And, I give you a lot of respect because, how I called you that one time, and stuff like that. So I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you and you're growing, you're evolving and I feel like you're meant to do good things and help people in your local area. So I just wanted to say I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Like that's just one thing, like, I feel like everybody like in this field like needs to stay humble and needs to stay in a place where they want to learn and grow in this field and not just think, oh, I know it all and go dive head first. Like I try to stay humble and know that like each case is different, each location is different, and sometimes it's well above my head and I have to reach out for help for others, and I would hope like if somebody else was in that situation and needed my help, they would reach out to me and be humble enough to do that. I wish more people were eager to learn and grow in this field instead of just being, stuck and happy with where they're at with it,
Right.
Yeah.
Spread your wings and fly. So do you have anything to say to Josh and Lindie as far as, are you picking up on anything for their investigation coming up? Because you had this weird vision that I'm like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you know what's weird is that I did post it. I did post a vision on my Facebook. I did feel like that there was a lot of energy to that last vision I just posted. I would actually say, I can't, because I know I'm not part of your team, but I would say,
yes, you are.
I would proceed it. I would, yeah, I know, as you know, as working together, but as like what I was gonna say is that I feel when you approach this investigation that you're gonna go to, I would say approach it with caution. Don't approach it with cockiness, and then have protecting energy. And I would say to carry, for some reason, I'm being told to carry amethyst, and I would say obsidian when you go to this location.
Obsidian.
And that's what I was told to tell you.
Yeah.
And amethyst is what stands out for me.
Yeah, I think obsidian is like one step up from tourmaline. Tourmaline I carry with me all the time when I go, but obsidian is that rank up, and so that's pretty creepy. Yeah. There's something hardcore there if you need to carry that shit.
Hey, Chris, I'm rocking my shirt right now, by the way.
Woot woot.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could see you on video, but I know I can't see you unless if I call into the Skype, but I don't know how to do that. I just wanted to call through
they're not on Skype, so we can't see each other anyways. My shirt went missing. I don't know where the fuck it went. And my new FCPI shirt that I bought went missing too. So I'm like, who the fuck took my shirts? There's something in my house that took my shirts. I miss my shirt where Chris's hands are like cupping my boobs. I'm like, check it out. It's like a Chris Garcia is going to read my energy through my boobies.
How to feel?
You know, the funny thing too is that with the blue shirts, a lot of people say, and it's weird. I don't know, and I didn't share this with you, Tessa, but the first shirts that I got, remember the red ones and then the black ones? Well, listen to this crap. Since I've had those shirts, because I started off with 10 at first, then I went from 10 to 30, and I got rid of them quick, and then I'm 50, which I haven't got rid of all of them. But listen to this. I've heard stories, and I might just talk about this on I know it's about Lindie, but I'm just going to give you some little info, and I don't know what's been going on, but with people that wear those shirts, I've been hearing a lot of good feedback, not just because, you know, they get reactions, but I've noticed that people that are very sensitive. I get a lot of looks,
they're like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, Chris Garcia.
And the thing is that they get a lot of people I've had to where they sleep good with the shirts.
Well, let's see. You have to talk about that, Chris, about me having finally some good dreams and stuff when I sleep in it.
That is awesome.
And it's crazy because I've had not just only that, I've heard people have had dreams when they sleep with it too. So
like
I don't know if yes, and I don't know if it's because they're connected to me because they look up to me and then I look up to them, and I guess it helps because they're very sensitive. So it depends. If you're a sensitive person and you have my shirt, you're bound to pick up more stuff.
I'm wondering,
when you go to a location,
have your visions, do they ever show up there because they're wearing your shirt? Like that would be interesting.
Yeah, wouldn't that?
Funny. That would be interesting, but just I just wanted to throw that out there. So I want to tell you something, Tessa. I don't know if you can find your shirt that I gave you, but if you want to, I'll send you another shirt. You just gotta tell me your size so you can have the blue and I don't know what color. What color did I give you? That's what I was going to ask you.
It was a blue one. It was like a navy blue one. And it had your hands and then the crystal ball and then second Chris Garcia.
Okay, well then what I'll do is I'll send you another shirt. I just have to know what size do you wear because I don't remember.
I'm an extra large medium.
So will you be like okay with an extra large because I only have large and extra large, or do you need like a 2X?
I'm an extra large. Well, you can send a 2X if you want. That'd be more room to move about. But yeah, XL is generally what I wear, but 2X, I'd love that too.
Okay, but that's what I was told. Besides the shirts, but I just wanted to say that, like I said on the investigation, just be very careful, Lindie, and have your team just do a protection circle before you go into the location. I'm being
And
told
cleanse
to
when you go
hold
out,
hands.
too.
Yeah, do cleansing before you go to that location. So if you have to do like a prayer circle to protect yourself, that's the only thing I'm being told to tell you. So, but I'm glad that you're on the show, and I just want to say many blessings to you and lots of love.
Oh, I just love you. I'm so glad you called in because you've been on my mind. You've been on my mind, and I've been so busy.
You know what's funny? You're not the only one that has told me that. For some reason, people have been thinking about me. I don't know what's going on, but there's a major shift with me. But yeah.
Well, I just know, like, all week though, like my mind just went to Chris, like, is he okay? Like, I don't know. Just been getting some weird energy there, so I'm so glad you called in and you sound in good spirits, so that makes me happy.
I know. I love it. I feel so blessed now. I'm like, oh my gosh. Chris just called into the show.
I'll let y'all guys go.
I'm like fangirling.
But I would be careful, and I'm going to let y'all go because I don't know if I could stay quiet because I don't have anything else to say. I'll just put myself on mute. Just put me on mute,
Tessa. Brother. But on that note, we do have to go to our music break. So if you want to hang out and talk on the break, feel free to. So on this break, we have Mr. Brooke Casey with Main Thing. And then we have Mystique with Rampage, as well as Time for School. And we have Miss Mystique with My Life. Actually, Miss Mocha T, My Life. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Now don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Vanilla chocolate flavor, you're the only one that I'm searching for. You the one for me and I can't complain. You sunshine anytime it rain. Not around then I might go insane. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Honey, you're so sweet, I can't ignore. Thinking about you both more and more. Making it pop and drop and swing. I could be the king and you my queen. Yeah, you look good, but you I'm saying. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Who's them dudes in the back with the black on? True deep, don't sleep or slack on. Come to the money, honey, I'ma get a stack on. Excuse me, ma, can I get my Mac on? To the left, throw it to the right. Do it like you wanna do it to me all night. From the block, kid know how to act hard. Like brick house, women with a fat backyard. In the club with me and my man's killing that. In the back door with me and my man chilling that. I'm on the floor, I'm like, damn, she killing that. It's going down, no cop around, feeling that. I'm fly, I'm a guy that'll get him. Player like me, need two of you with him. Call you a lollipop and I wanna lick up you. Number one, my top choice of pick. Yeah, give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Now don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Can you keep it going? On and on and on. Now give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Now don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Hey, break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Cause you got it going on and on and on. Can't deny the way that you too fly. Anytime that I look you in the eye, a phenomenon that I can't explain. Like the things you're doing to my brain. You the only one to take away my pain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Can't stop thinking about how you move and all the things that I'ma do to you. True, this might be a little bit strange. Don't care if I don't even know your name. That's why I wanna tell you this simple and plain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Who's them chicks all thick with the pumps on? Lumps in the front, back with the bumps on. Not a cat hoping that he get his humps on. I'm way beyond with them other chumps on. Sweet enough to eat and he might bite you. Wanna make love to you, I don't wanna fight you. Nobody like you, not a one like you. When you come around, no telling what he might do. Right now in the club, who the dawn? Don't a man that got it going on later on. I could tell by the dancing, you digging this song. You can tell I've been digging you all night long. And I love to be digging in you all night long. Party right here, hardy all night long. Let's flex it to the coat check, exit to the Lexus, Nexus, triple exit. Come on, give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Now don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Can you keep it going? On and on and on. Now give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Now don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Hey, break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Cause you got it going on and on and on. I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Now don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. You pop it, drop it, swing. Now don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. Vanilla chocolate flavor, you're the only one that I'm searching for. You the one for me and I can't complain. You sunshine anytime it rain. Not around then I might go insane. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that, keep going, baby. Now don't you stop that.
Honey, you so sweet I can't ignore. Thinking about you both more and more. Making every pop and drop and swing. I could be the king and you my queen. Yeah, they look good, but you I'm saying. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that, keep going, baby. Now don't you stop that.
Cannot believe that you too fly. Anytime that I look you in the eye, a phenomenon that I can't explain. Like the things you're doing to my brain. You don't only wanna take away my pain. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that, keep going, baby. Now don't you stop that.
Can't stop thinking about how you move and all the things that I'ma do to you. True, this might be a little bit strange. Don't care if I don't even know your name. That's why I wanna tell you this simple and plain. I just wanna make you my main thing.
I like it when you pop that, drop that, keep going, baby. Now don't you stop that.
Spark so much fire, think I woke up the dragons. I'm a new beast, spitting apocalypse for a fantastic. Got the power from God, made the rest hard to breathe. I'm on the surface, flow so powerful, industry don't fit me. Spark so much fire, think I woke up the dragons. I'm a new beast, spitting apocalypse for a fantastic. Got the power from God, made the rest hard to breathe. I'm on the surface, flow so powerful, industry don't fit me. You people find your well, I'm the kind that made you inspire. Smoke detector can't take the batteries, what I require. I am led to put me out, you need a metal lid. Stop, drop, bend, roll to your nearest exit. Not the one to play, we'll make you go back and edit. Make you jump, double dutch, till your leg legs. Head knobbing with the flow, man, I need a helmet. I done screwed up these verses and got them pregnant. One of a kind, and chick could step to my comparison. F the world up with this, man, I should just marry it. My words are weapons, big as tools that can't fit in your kid. They sell it fake, hoping I'd rather kill your hope like ISIS. Still killing it, infinite check the status, I'm getting the wind. Froze the flows with multiple codes, my symbols grows, I'm cold as snow. I know the principles, and we feasting the beast with the dragon relief. When it happens, it show that I don't play though. Step into us will be so fatal. Spark so much fire, think I woke up the dragons. I'm a new beast, spitting apocalypse for a fantastic. Got the power from God, made the rest hard to breathe. I'm on the surface, flow so powerful, industry don't fit me. Spark so much fire, think I woke up the dragons. I'm a new beast, spitting apocalypse for a fantastic. Got the power from God, made the rest hard to breathe. I'm on the surface, flow so powerful, industry don't fit me.
Hey, it's swag. I done got back in my bag. I done had people laugh. I done seen people pass. I spaz like spaz. The garbage man and they trash. This of course I can't crash. This a race and I'm fast. I pass the fake and put all of it last. Dragon so I clash. I hide it all in the stash. We are diamonds, they are brass. I'm connected with no lag. She a spin 34 bag. That's my wife and I'm glad. Michael Myers with his stabs. Ali with his jabs. A scientist in the lab. JJ Watt in his past. The amigos with the dab. This is why I ride. And I got the nag. Spazzy rolled a sack with Mystique in the back. Money tall like Shaq. Weapons like Iraq. I am cancer in a pack. The 9/11 attack. We don't know no slag. You can't hold us back. Rock and roll with that.
So much fire, think I woke up the dragons. I'm a new beast, spitting apocalypse for a fantastic. Got the power from God, made the rest hard to breathe. I'm on the surface, flow so powerful, industry don't fit me. Spark so much fire, think I woke up the dragons. I'm a new beast, spitting apocalypse for a fantastic. Got the power from God, made the rest hard to breathe. I'm on the surface, flow so powerful, industry don't fit me.
life, the quality or state of being alive, a living organism, and I am. Mocha tea, let's get it. My life, the sugar, honey, iced tea. They wonder why I smile so gracefully, and wonder why I like blue when I'm lactose. 10 toes, 10 fingers, nigga, 10 hoes. Flow dope, whip it, microwave and stove was broke. Broke days, broke weeks, even broke months. A rich Joan will have them going crazy. Lettuce and mac and cheese got them going crazy. Irregular, abnormal, and unusual. So unusual, I got shot for being beautiful. You can tell me love, you so gorgeous, but yet got a gun pointing to my forehead. Yo, head break bread, yeah, we gon' feast. Remember the cold nights we had nothing to eat. Southern Belle raising hell, area near you. I'm hungry and leaving no proof. My life, my life, my life. It ain't always sunshine in my life. A big puzzle, I'm trying to figure peace ain't right. They thought I wasn't gonna make it, I know they didn't. It's visual, check your vision if you got the issue. A news feed if you got the memo. Breaking news, a new wave coming. Fuck a wave, hurricane, so mocha-licious. I really do this, it's in my blood. Pass it to my kids when I have some. And that's hip-hop.
Do you believe? Are you ready? It's time for school. Roll out your red carpet. You gotta love to learn and have fun. It's time for school.
Do you believe? Are you ready? Get ready. It's time for school. Roll out your red carpet. You got to love to learn and have fun. It's time for school.
The funniest memory that I could recall is getting up to sharpen my pencil as a kid, showing off my new outfit from head to toe. Yo, I love the life of 3 9-year-olds with hyper goals. My mind be blown. Don't get upset when the answer's wrong. Pray for strength and you'll survive to be strong. I am a teacher, it's how I define myself. Help me vibe so well, don't stress. Do your best and forget the rest. Mama made sure we pray to God, highly blessed. And I am honored, no weapon formed against us should prosper. Don't ever forget. And I bet when you enter into school, you'll feel ultimate. No consequences of your accomplishments. Move away from the negativity, it got you bit. And if you getting in the midst, just take the time and repent. Stay focused, get a pencil, write about the lesson. Raise your righteous hand, find the answer to questions. Can be your main plan, leave a saucy impression. You are your own fan, you got this, is what I recommend. Do you believe? Are you ready? It's time for school. Roll out your red carpet. You gotta love to learn and have fun. It's time for school.
Do you believe? Are you ready? It's time for school. Roll out your red carpet. You got to love to learn and have fun. It's time for school. Back then, I loved school. I was cool. I was putting in my dues. I ain't wanna be no fool. Mama had it poppin', school supplies and shopping. Success was an option. Math had me locked in, but English was my topic. Lunchtime, I had it rocking. Lunch tables was knocking, and we wasn't stopping. In gym, I was good from the 3. Like Stockton, music class, I had everyone stuck. They was watching. We wore bow straps with retros and the watches. Love life, humble yourself. That's my creed. Think with your mind and heart, you will achieve. Pray on it, give it to God and proceed. Your goals, ambition, and God is all you need. Imagination and will is something we can't teach. Remember Dr. King, he had a whole dream. You can do whatever you want. I believe.
Do you believe? Are you ready? It's time for school. Roll out your red carpet. You gotta love to learn and have fun. It's time for school.
Do you believe? Are you ready? It's time for school. Roll out your red carpet. You got to love to learn and have fun. It's time for school.
Do you believe? Are you ready? It's time for school.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. This evening, we are joined by Miss Lindie, Josh, as well as Psychic Chris Garcia, the one and only. I don't know, I got so excited when you called in. It was kind of like if Chip Coffee called in, I couldn't be any more excited. I was just like, holy shit, Chris Garcia is calling into this show right now. What the hell is happening?
I know.
Aww.
No, but like I had some pains and stuff in my side, and literally like focusing on it, like I knew where it was coming from, and I messaged her and I was like, "Are you having pains like such here?" And she was like, "Yep, that's me." And I was like, "Okay, I know where it's coming from now." But it's been like one thing after another with me this week of different crazy stuff happening.
Yeah, I would say use some sweetgrass to start smudging yourself before
I was
and
talking about
after
sweetgrass
you
earlier, Chris. You're fucking blowing my mind again. I was talking about sweetgrass earlier. Holy fucktards. Okay, I'm good.
She's like, oh my God.
Yeah, we just had
why
this
are you
conversation
picking
a little
my
while ago.
brain right now? I was talking about sweetgrass. I'm like, have you ever used that? Because I haven't, but I've had team members use it. And then in the house in Boston, Arkansas, they found a rope of sweetgrass like rolled up in the attic. Once they took it out, all that shit broke loose.
Wow, that's insane, because sometimes I do feel that, when you say that, kind of, it's almost like, how can I put it? It's kind of like when you found it, it was like something put it there. Something put it there.
To appease the spirit. And then after that, like my dad even saw his first apparition. He's like, what the hell is that? Somebody's climbing into the attic and there's not a ladder or somebody there. Like, what the hell is going on right now?
I'm just blown away that he just validated what I thought we were dealing with at the freaking hospital. My mind is just like, I don't even know. My stomach's in the middle right now.
We're like, what the hell? And then your stomach getting all twisted up is making my stomach sick. And I'm like, sister, you need to stop that right now. No.
Yeah, but...
So, Josh, we got to be looking into that.
Yeah, we do.
So I missed it because I went to hit the head. Like, what exactly happened? What did you say? I know you said the thing about obsidian, but was there something else after that?
I was just like, I was like, do you think something followed us home or whatnot, or something attached to us? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, what do you think it is? And he was like, well, a female. And he was like, and a Wendigo.
Yeah, I was there for that. Yeah. Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit blew my mind.
No, but it's insane. But I'm going to let y'all talk, so I'm going to stay quiet. So hopefully, if anybody wants to call, and I'm going to tell you something, guys. I know I'm just a caller, but I just want to say, if y'all want to check out Lindie and her team, even though I don't know her team very well, but enough of what I feel from them. So if you don't got any questions, you can call the show and ask them questions, because it's always important to talk to people that are in the paranormal, because they're good at what they do. So I would say I would recommend to call the show and ask them anything, because I feel like they would know the answer to it. So that's all I got to say.
And we love you, Chris. I'm so glad you called in.
And the number
You're welcome,
is my lovely assistant, 970-335-9596. 970-335-9596. If you have any experiences or questions or anything for Lindie and Josh or the one and only Psychic Chris Garcia. You guys are so quiet. I feel awkward now.
So Josh, I have a question for you, Josh. Since I've been a part of the team, what's been your favorite location that we've done? Has it been a private client or actual location?
Oh man, well, I can't say the hospital is my favorite. It was the most intense. That one's interesting, but honestly, when we brought you to Magnolia with us, I think that was my favorite one to see. I got to see what you could do. Yeah. We got more more stuff happen with you there, you know.
Spirits, like, love me for some reason.
Yeah.
Swear they do.
I was going to ask that earlier, like, what was it exactly about Lindie that you're like, you just got to be on our team? And I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, we got to see what she's all about, you know. She brings a different element to the team, you know.
Aw.
Oh, snap.
I guess when...
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, me and Tommy, we've always been kind of dominant on all the tech out there. And Lindie, you know, she's kind of a tech person too, but she brings that other part of it too. So we was missing that.
Yeah, I said, oh, snap, because I just got that friend request from you, and then I'm like, I'm going to look up Tommy and send him a friend request, and I was like, oh, snap, we're already friends. Cool. I wish he could join us. I might try to call him again, but I guarantee he's, like, too busy with work.
I think he sent a message saying he couldn't sneak away to join us. I think that's what he said.
Damn it. Damn it all.
Yeah.
It's all good. Maybe next time. Maybe next month.
Yeah, we'll get back on here. I promise it won't take so long.
So, this upcoming investigation, that's not at your friend's house. This is a brand new location you guys are going to?
Brand new location.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, what we didn't tell you, we hosted our very first event, though, back in October, and
Seriously?
It was awesome.
What happened?
Yes,
What
and
was it?
we Miss Robbins, I love her. She's like, oh my God, Tessa, you would love her. She's got like the best energy. But she actually has this cute little Victorian style house right on the river here by where I live. And we've actually investigated there before, and she had people interested in coming in there. And she has kind of like live music there on the weekends, and has like an art gallery there and whatnot.
Oh,
and
yeah,
she had
that's my
people
girl.
interested in coming and doing an investigation. So we were like, we'll come in and do it, you know, like, yeah, we'll have a costume contest and just have a good time. So we did, and we actually caught some pretty good activity that night too. We're catching stuff on the SLS and some REM pod activity, and to be our first event, we actually had a good turnout, more than I expected to actually show up, but I'm actually kind of glad it was a smaller group, too, because, you know, having public events like that, the larger the crowd, sometimes it's just, you don't get a whole lot of activity, so.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun, though.
Well, it's crazy because
We're gonna try
the
to...
only event I ever went to was a UFO conference in San Francisco, California. And I met Dave Scott of SOR Radio, and then shortly after became a host on the show. But there was an elevator there in that hotel, and every time I stood in front of it, no matter what floor I was on, I had to stand to the side because there was like a portal or a vortex right in front of that elevator. And I was just like, holy fuck.
Wow.
You know, I've only had a couple shots so far, and this is not right. Like, there's something going on. Like, this elevator, it's like collecting souls or something. It was insane. And then we got a lot of activity in the room, too.
That video, you said you just got some cool UFO video. I want to see this.
Okay, I'll have to send it to you. But yeah, my daughter, okay, so my son was born with 6 fingers on his right hand. Before he was born, and then after he was born is when I started seeing UFOs, and so I'm like, okay, was I abducted? And now I have like a mutant child, but I know I'm mutant too, so I just think it goes along par for the course. But yeah, my daughter, Lily, she's 6 years old. She's the only one that has ever told me about her past life. She's constantly seeing them. She's like, Mom, look, there's a UFO. And I'll look, and the first time it was over Foxfire Farms, and it was like twinkling, and I only saw one, but she saw 3, and she's like, they're moving around. Well, my daughter Nova was actually in that neighborhood at the time, and her friends were looking up into this triangle, and she said, yeah, they were moving positions, going in this triangle formation, back and forth, like everybody was changing positions, and then all of a sudden, poof, they were gone. You know, they just zipped off into wherever they went. And then the last time we saw one, she's like, Mom, look, there's a UFO. So luckily my phone was out on the picnic table and I grabbed it up and started taking a video, and you can hear the music in the background and everything and all of the excitement from everyone. There was not just one, there was two, and then one blinked out and the other one kept going, and then all of a sudden this fighter jet came in, and as soon as the fighter jet went by, checking this thing out, the thing blinked out of existence and then it came back. So I have like 3 different videos from start to end. But yeah, I was just like, yes, I finally got fucking video footage of this stuff, because generally it's just pictures. You can go see the pictures of the UFOs that I've seen before. It might look like a bunch of clouds, but if you zoom in, you can see the UFOs around the cloud lines and in a row, and it's just really weird, the different ones. Those were kind of like individual shuttlecraft, and then the ones I saw recently, I was like, those could be weather balloons, but they do tether them to ropes and send them up. These were just going along, and the weird thing about it, when I saw the mothership and these 2 UFOs, they were going towards the airport from kind of northeast towards the airport. When I saw the mothership, it was coming from the northwest from the airport. So it was just like insane. And it was the same thing that the ISS station saw, that whole big ass like saucer looking thing. But yeah, it's been insane.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to check those out over there, Josh or Lindie. Have you guys seen UFOs too, or I don't know?
I've seen one time, and it was
one.
The one I've seen. It was kind of hovering over trees. It freaked me out, because at first I thought it was like a helicopter or something, but this thing made no noise, and you could see, because it was kind of getting dark, but you could see the reflection of my headlights off of it, and it just kind of hovered and went off across down below the trees, and it was gone. I'm like, damn, I think I just seen a UFO. And it did look like a saucer type UFO, you know?
Yeah. What about you, Linda?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I saw too. It moved with freaking speed of light, but like once it hovered, it made no sound, nothing. It hovered, and then as soon as you blink, like it's gone.
Yeah, it's insane how fast they move, and I think the very first one that I captured, I was not trying to capture a UFO, just like the ones around the clouds. I was taking pictures of the moon and this really weird electric blue light that was coming off of the moon that night. I was just like, this is intense. Like, this is a different energy than the moon has ever put off before that I've seen. I've never seen that electric blue color before, and it just seemed like something else was happening. So I was taking lots of pictures and then, going through as a photographer and trying to see, was it blurry? Was it clear? What's going on? Zooming into the clouds, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And there was a bunch of different shuttlecraft. And it was weird. There was at least like 12 to 20 of them. And whatever position one was in, the other ones were in. So they're facing forward, upright to the right or the left, or even like totally straight up, and then all of a sudden at the end they just turned into little lights and disappeared again. And the very first one I got, I called the Conference of the Clouds. That was that very same night, and there was a ring of UFOs on this cloud right next to the moon. It's like they were sitting on this cloud, but I know they weren't. But there was a red and orange and yellow and blue and green and a really brilliant white or silverescent light one, and then later on they turned into this like individual shuttlecraft where you could see where the body could be, and then the 2 little thrusters or whatever on the side. But yeah, the ones recently, they looked like the whole Tic Tac video. They were like Tic Tacs, and they didn't even care. They're just like floating along, and making their merry little way towards the airport. I'm like, why are they always flying to or from the area of the airport? It's like they don't even respect the airspace boundaries. I don't know. It's pretty strange.
That's crazy. Hey, I have a question, Tessa. You may know answers since you're like Miss Photographer. But, like, I know, like, because I'm a big picture taker, like, when I go to locations and stuff. And a lot of times, like, I try to kind of review them there and, like, when I get home. But there's been times, like, when I reviewed them and not seen anything, and then, like, days later, I go back and review it. And I've actually captured stuff like that. Like, gone to Myrtles and taken photos. And, I mean, I've looked at these photos 1,000 times, and then a week later, go back and look at that same photo, and there be something different in it. Have you ever had that happen?
Well, yeah, you kind of, like, don't even see what's there at first. Maybe somebody else will see it and be like, what is that? And a lot of times, when people say that, I know Neil Robichaux recently was like, what is that green light in the bottom of the screen? Well, that's just the glare off of the sun. Sometimes that happens with the moon, too. If there's a really bright light, there will be a glare at the bottom. And some people are like, oh, look at that orb. No, it's not an orb. That's a glare from this light that is above, whether it's the moon, the sun, or whatever. But yeah, when you really zoom in and you start to check out these pictures, you can see a lot of stuff. Like I was saying last night, I took several pictures because it was a full moon, and I was trying to get a picture of the church at the very end of the cemetery because it was kind of like a really creepy scene. And I'm like, with a glint of the moon, like, this is going to be really cool. That's when I picked up the butterfly thing a couple times, and then it turned into a teddy bear, and then it turned into something else. But every time there was that little skull thing. But I was looking for different apparitions or something. I'm like, hopefully I caught something because I was told to take these pictures. I think you just get that feeling something's there. Let's see if this camera or whatever can pick it up. And so I think it's interesting when people use like regular film cameras as well as digital cameras. You get different outcomes or different evidence depending on the media.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've taken, because I normally take a digital camera with me, and like I've been like that. Like I was at a private client one night, and we were sitting across the hall doing an EVP session, and I like the room across the way from us, like I did not want to go in by myself, and later on I found out why. But I kept being drawn over there, so I was like, I'm just going to start snapping some photos and going back, and I actually captured a full-on apparition in that doorway. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I see you, hey, you know. But I remember this photo from Myrtles though. Like I can send it to you. Me and my girlfriend were sitting out. We had been there investigating all night, and we took just a selfie of us in the courtyard there. And it's the breezeway where they say Chloe is, like, was behind us. And I have several pictures of us sitting there in that exact same spot that night. And this does not show up in any of the other photos. And I looked at this photo, I don't know how many times. And it wasn't until we got home, and probably, like I said, probably a week later, to where me and her both were like, what the hell is that? In the back behind us. And I don't know, it was just strange. Hey, son.
Hey, let me check.
Oh, little Sonny Jim is all grown.
That is a satanic figure. Get that from it.
Hi, Marsh. Cool. Oh, our producer is in the house.
Hey, hello.
Producer man, how you doing, man? We're doing a good job, man. Okay? Don't worry about us. We're doing our show. It's turning out okay, man.
Go away. I'm on podcast. Go away.
You can be out here, but I can't.
Yes, I know. He's annoying. He's meowing because he wants love.
He's telling us to get on with the show. Poor guy. He's so stressed out.
My cat's like, he's so needy.
Aww.
Oh, what's weird?
My son is worried about what he's wearing to go meet his girlfriend's parents in the week.
That is super stressful. I feel you, son. Meeting the in-laws or the girlfriend's parents, holy shit. I didn't get married. I actually disappeared off the face of the earth because of something like that. I'm like, I can't do it. They're too rich for my taste. They're going to think I'm trailer trash. I can't do it.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
I think whatever you're comfortable in, you should wear. Don't try to be somebody else because of them. Wear what you're comfortable in. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree with it.
Mm-hmm. Be you.
Just
be yourself.
Oh, wait, the joint.
Ooh.
Oh.
Joint? What? Can I partake? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so there has been a lot of different activity, and for a little bit, I don't know, like, before I used to do the Facebook Lives and the video before the show and all this other stuff, and people would see orbs flying around and everything, and then I had this shadow person show up, and it was by my bed, and then it got closer and closer and closer till it was, like, pressed right up against me, and then I was like, get the fuck out of my room. I'm not afraid of you. You're not scaring me. Just get out. And it went away and it never came back. So I was pretty lucky on that account. But ever since then, I don't know. I haven't experienced anything here for a while. But my sister Sarah, she was at the homeless camp. And then we gave her a trailer. So she's been living in our side yard and working on her trailer to try to get it ready to take it to Lightner Creek. I really don't want her to go there because that place is so freaky. But perhaps down the road something will open up for her, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I think people need to do their own thing, take their own path, and I just kind of worry about that because there's so many different crazy things that go on there, just like in Vallecito. People begin to have addictions, hauntings, they murder, they kill, all these different things, and it's funny because all of these lands used to be indigenous or Native American land, and so I think because they were pushed out, they cursed it, and so all this stuff is happening, and that's the same with Lightner Creek. Have you guys experienced that there? I know about, slaves, and starts with an S, some sort of a Samoan or something, not Samoan, that's Alaska, Seminole, the Seminole tribe, and other things like that down in that area. Do you feel that sort of energy or magic or whatnot?
I think a lot of the land here is kind of tainted with different things because a lot of the land I know here was Indian land. So, which we had like Cherokee and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, we pushed them out. I do think there are a lot of cursed areas, or I don't know if curse is the right word, or they're just pissed off that somebody's there, not necessarily want to do harm, but just kind of want to let you know they're there and they don't like you there,
Yeah. A lot of it is vengeance, like as far as here. I don't know with you, but yeah.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine being that way on the other side. Like, I want to see my grandkids grow old. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around being a grandmother. I'm like, sister, I'm too young and hot to be a grandmammy. But I guess I shall be around Valentine's Day. My baby's going to be pushing out a baby, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm just like, oh my God, no way is this happening. I'm just proud. She's in her 20s. She beat me by 1 year. Exactly 2 weeks before I turned 21, I had my first daughter. And she's going to be 22, so she beat me. But I'm just grateful she wasn't a teenager. I was so afraid of that for years. Like, is that going to happen to my kids? Like, I know my disposition and what I could have done as a kid, but I don't know. It's just kind of scary.
Damn Hellraiser.
Huh, what?
I said, you damn Hellraiser.
I know.
I'm so worried mine are going to be, like, so worse than I was. But I can't say I was horrible, but I don't know.
Yeah, you hear about that mother's curse and stuff, and it's like, oh, shit, what's going to happen?
So how do you feel about, like, generational curses? Have you ever had to deal with something?
Yes, I have. I have a family curse. What about you, Josh? Do you have one, too?
No, not that I know of. So.
Yeah, for me, okay. This is going to sound outrageous, but After my mom died, my dad, like I said earlier, sent us for a vacation to see our grandparents and then never sent for us again. So then my aunt and uncle came and got us, but before that happened, I was staying in my mother's room. And one night, you know, I've always had paranormal PTSD. Like, it takes me a very, very long time to get to sleep. Generally about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I will go to bed, or go to sleep. I'm already in bed, just trying to get to sleep, but I saw this flickering through my window. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Because outside my window, there's a side yard that's about maybe 8 to 10 feet wide. And then on the other side is the chicken yard. And then further along is the barn, you know, where the hay is for the cattle and all the other stuff. And I'm just like, there should be no light like that. There is a light near the barn, but this was like a firelight. So I crept down my bed, I peeked out the window, and I saw a bonfire in the chicken yard. And the closest thing that I could tell you it was gremlins. Looked like gremlins dancing around the fire and chanting. Some of them had like spears or daggers. Some of them had drums that they were beating on. And some of them were sitting beating on drums, and others were dancing around the fire. And it seemed like as soon as I peeked up and saw them, they stopped all at once. And so I threw myself back in bed, and I'm like pulling my sheet over, because as a kid, that is your shield, is your sheet. Pull your sheet over your head, right. You'll be okay. And then I could see like the little shadows of these little gremlin critters coming towards the house, the shadows getting bigger and bigger, and then you can hear the scratching up the wall, and then you can hear them chattering back and forth, and they're looking around, they don't see anything, and so they move down the house, and that's when they started going after my brother. I call them kobolds, even though I looked them up online. They don't look the same. They're like gremlins, but with shorter ears. The very next night, I had a dream that there was a hole in the floor at the end of my bed, and my bed was tilting up, and it's trying to make me fall into the hole to go down a hill. And the only thing that was keeping me from going down there was the baseboard on my bed, which was about 8 inches down from where my mattress was. So I'm putting my thumbs down there, I'm holding on really tight, and I'm trying not to fall in the hole. Then all of a sudden, I wake up from this nightmare, and I'm at the end of the bed. My sheets are all messed up, and I'm a very still sleeper. I stay in one position all night, generally, unless I wake up and switch to the other side. But I was like, man, that was a really messed up dream, and just kind of like thinking through it like you do when you have a nightmare like that. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I still smell smoke. But it wasn't like the fire and brimstone smoke. It was like a cigar, like a sweet cherry sort of smell. And I looked over to my doorway, which I didn't have a door. I just had curtains, like lace curtains tied back. And there was this man standing in my doorway. I could see this dark figure. And then he lifted up a cigar to his face. He took a puff off of it. And when I saw his face and his upper body, he was wearing a tuxedo, black tie, white shirt underneath. His hair was slicked back. And he, I swear to God, was the most gorgeous man I had ever seen. And I knew immediately who he was. It was the devil. And when I used to have nightmares as a kid, my dad would tell me, just say this little ditty or this little prayer or whatever. God stands before me, Satan fall behind. I didn't even say it out loud. I said it in my head. And all of a sudden I was just knocked out. I didn't have to deal with him. And then years later, when our family got back together, I told that story, and my dad, I swear to God, lost all the color in him. He's a nice olive-toned Irish guy. I think there's some Spanish or something in there. He called it Black Irish, so we could be part black. He turned white as a sheet, and he's like, your mother told the very same story, except for instead of being in the doorway, he was right next to her bed, and she had a lengthy conversation with him. And I think that's when she made a deal or whatever. But, yeah, I saw the devil, and I saw his little fucking minions. Like, it was so weird.
That is insane. I need you to put some amethyst under your pillow, though, girl.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Under the mattress, under the pillow, like, for real. For reals.
Well, today, like my dreams are just, like, everyday boring shit. I'm like, wow. not only do I have to have a boring life during the day, but when I'm sleeping, I have to do it too. What is happening? This is not cool. I need to have some sort of fantasy or something cool.
You need to sleep in a Chris Garcia shirt, so you start having some visions.
Mm-hmm. I need to find it.
Because he has the same visions.
Yeah, I need to find my shirt.
Which I've been having good sleep, because there for a while, like, after coming back from the hospital, I wasn't sleeping good at all. And, like, me and Chris had this conversation, like, after, like, because I was sleeping in the shirt a lot, and actually I'm rocking it now. But, like, I actually sleep good when I sleep in it and have some good dreams, so.
Well, that's good. What about you? Like, Josh, have you had reoccurring dreams or any weird stuff like what I was just talking about? I don't know. When I say this stuff, it makes me feel like I'm kind of crazy. But I know it happened. Especially when my dad's like, oh my God, your mom had that same experience.
I ain't never had any dreams like that, but I have had dreams in the past where it would almost be like a continuation, you know? Or I would meet this same person in multiple dreams. It don't happen too much anymore, though. Oh, dreams are crazy.
Yeah, it's like another realm. I don't know. I think it was like a month or so after my mom passed. She came to me in a dream, and I think that's the easiest way for spirits to show themselves and communicate, because it's in another realm. They don't have to use energy or whatnot to manifest or to get words out. And people kind of freak out when they hear like spirits breathing or letting out air, or like you said, Lindie, earlier, like blowing in your ear, different things like that. Like ghosts or spirits don't have lungs. How are they able to do this? And I think it's because they had it before. They know how to, manipulate the air or whatever, like use these certain things. But it's amazing the different stuff that comes through. And I'm kind of grateful for the technology.
I know when I die, I got a whole list of people that I'm coming back to haunt and all kinds of freaky shit I'm going to do to fuck them. So, bring it on.
I do have a question for y'all. Have y'all ever experienced sleep paralysis?
Yes.
No.
I had that happen to me one time, and that terrified the hell out of me.
What was your experience? What happened?
Well, one night, I was waking up. The girl I was with at the time, like, she elbowed me to wake me up. So I looked at her, and she was sleeping. So I was like, okay, I don't know what the hell that was about. Well, like, I looked back over, and the room just kind of got, like, it looked wavy. Like, what the hell, Well, I followed this waviness, and, like, directly in front of our bed, we had a TV. Well, I could see a black figure right there in front of the TV because the head kind of poked up above the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought was, like, oh, shit, somebody done broke into our house. So I tried to kick them. I couldn't move my legs. Next thing, this thing is, like, reaching out for me. So I couldn't move. I couldn't make a sound, nothing. So finally I was able to reach for the light switch. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find it at first, but finally I found it. And then when the light came on, it was like I could move again,
Yeah, you got rid of that dark. I don't know what is it
was
about light. Even with skinwalkers, the back porch light, they would not come within line of that. But talking about my own, like, sleep paralysis thing. Okay, so the very first time I experienced it, I was in MRP, which is the Marine Broken Platoon. Marine Rehabilitation Platoon. Yeehaw! There's so many fucked up individuals in there. You would not believe. But it was during Hurricane Bonnie, and we actually were gifted this Ouija board from Private Black. Unfortunately, Private Black was doing some field exercises and got ran over by a tank. And so the male and female platoon were passing his Ouija board back and forth. And so the girls were playing with it, and I went over to watch because I've seen Titanic for the fucking 10th time already, and I'm so sick of that movie. but everybody's wanting to watch it because it just came out. And so I'm back there and I'm watching these girls do it, and they're like, come on, you want to come on board? You want to try this? And I'm like, no, I'll just watch you guys for a while, because I was, I don't know, always religious, like throughout my life, trying to find answers, and then became LDS, and I was taught Dungeons and Dragons and Ouija boards and all this other shit is bad. So I was like, nope, I'll just watch and see what's going on. In reality, I really wanted to talk to my mom. And then eventually when they asked me again, they're like, hey, you wanna try to use this? And I'm like, okay. So I got on there and I'm like, can I talk to my mom? And it said no. So I was like, well, fuck you then. I'm gonna go take a shower and you can go on with your life and I'll go on with mine. And then I came back out and the Ouija board was still on my bed and nobody was around. So I got on there. I didn't know the rules about it, like you're not supposed to do it alone, all these other things. So I get on there and I'm like, Mom, are you there? And all of a sudden it starts slowly moving and it gets faster and faster and faster and faster. And at first it said yes, and then it said, tell Gary, Greg, Kathy, John, your dad, I'm okay, everything's okay, so on and so forth. And I asked her so many different questions, like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Are you with me? So on and so forth. And she was talking about doing astral hops, and she can be anywhere she wants, anytime she wants. And yes, she is always with me, even though she might not be right there. She knows what's going on in my life, and if I need her, she will be there. And I guess eventually the girls came up because they saw what I was doing, and that I was doing it alone, and they were trying to shake me and get me to stop or to hear them. I did not hear anything. I did not feel anything for quite a while, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, what? And they're like, man, we've been trying to get your attention for some time now, but now you're finally here, but yeah, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? But shortly after that, I had my first sleep paralysis. I just felt really tired, and I felt like I needed to take a nap. I've always been against naps until my older years. Now I want to nap every day if I can. But back in the day, I didn't want to because I might miss something, and I was just so tired, and I was like, I need to take a nap. So I laid down on a rack near the head, which is the bathroom, and I fell asleep. And then I heard my sergeant call us to line up for chow, and I was trying to get up from my nap, and I couldn't. Like, I opened my eyes, I could see the girls running past me. I was trying to move my body with every inch of energy or muscle that I could, and I couldn't. No matter how hard I strained, I couldn't. And then finally, I was able to break free. And then for about a week and a half after that, I was sore. I was so sore because I did use all those muscles trying to break free, and I couldn't. And then it was, I want to say in 2008, so about 10 years later, I had my second sleep paralysis. We were living in a band house for the weekend because my husband was in a band, and we kind of messed around for a little bit and then laid down for a nap so we could be re-energized for the evening. And this room did not have any windows. The only light you could see was from under the door. So I'm about to drift off to sleep, and then all of a sudden I see this figure that is darker than the dark. And I was like, what the fuck? And I couldn't say anything. I couldn't move. And this thing was telepathically talking to me. And he's standing over me, and he's like, I will have you. And I'm like, no, you won't. And he laughed, and when he laughed, I could see his teeth, and they were like razor sharp, fucking fangy sort of looking teeth, and they were glowing in the dark, and I could see the saliva kind of dripping off of them. And then he reached down and he kissed me, and when he did, like, there was this electric shock that went up my canine teeth, and it went up into my head, down through my body, and as soon as it hit my feet, I was able to kick my feet. Nothing else in my body would work, but I could kick my feet, and I was trying to scream, but nothing would come out. But being able to kick my feet, my husband woke up, and he said he saw the dark figure next to me, so he reached over and grabbed me and pulled me towards him, and then that guy disappeared. And it freaked me out so bad, like the very next day, I kept looking in my rearview mirror, thinking that he was still with me, but I've never seen him again. But that was my second time of sleep paralysis. It was really freaky.
I know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't sleep on the edge of the bed for a while.
Right? What, Lindie?
I hope I don't ever experience that.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh, it's scary.
Yeah, and people say, oh, it's just, something that happens when you wake up before your body does. And I'm like, hell no, it's not. Like, this was paranormal. This was not scientifically, proven. This is something paranormal. If it was something scientific and something going on with my body, it would happen more than twice within my whole life. I'm 42, gonna be 43 this week. It would have
Happy birthday!
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't ever want to experience that. I struggle, being an empath, coming back from locations and, doing sensory and being affected at locations and just being completely drained. And, I've had locations to where it's taken me weeks to get back to, full force. A lot of times I'll come back and I'll just sleep. And, sometimes I have to make myself get up and, do stuff because I'm so drained. Just, I'm get it in your head, Lindy, you got to get up. You can't just sleep all day. But I'm just so drained and don't want to do anything else,
So you've experienced that too, recently? I just want to hibernate. I just want to sleep all the time.
I have been lately, and I think it has to do with the whole energy shift thing because I've just been completely drained lately. I don't know what it is, but I can't imagine being drained and then laying there and not being able to move or do anything. I want control of my body and be able to move.
Well, for me, when I seen this figure, I did my research after, and that's what I came up with. You're waking up before your body or whatever, but I'm testing. I'm why the hell it hadn't happened more than just this time,
Yeah.
Well, I really thought somebody broke into my house. That's what I really thought,
Man. Are you still living in the same place, or are you somewhere different now?
No, I'm in a different house now.
Okay, thank God, because that thing would have been feeding off you hardcore, I think.
Oh, yeah. But see, another thing with that, though, they had there was a room upstairs. Tommy can tell you about this, too. They had a room upstairs. It had a padlock on it on the outside. Don't know why. We was renting this house.
Right?
So, and when this particular event happened, the door was unlocked. So,
weird.
After that happened,
did you go in and see what was in there?
It was a red room.
Red room?
It was a red room.
Ooh.
Red room.
That's 50 Shades type shit.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Freaky deaky.
But after that happened, I made sure that room was locked and nothing else ever happened to me.
That's good. I'm glad it didn't escape, because holy shit.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, and it's weird because they're like, yes, this is a scientific thing. This happens to people. And I'm like, no, it only happened twice in my whole life. And it was very spaced out in between. This was something otherworldly and weird and paranormal like this. And some people say, maybe it was an alien. I don't think so. I think it was some sort of dark entity that feeds off of people and that lives in that band house because, band life, people are crazy willy-nilly and taking all kinds of drugs and alcohol, except for my husband. He won't even take a sip. I bought him a rum and coke once, and yeah, it didn't turn out very well. But he won't drink or do drugs or anything. He's totally clean. But I think it was picking up on me because at that time I did have a meth habit, and maybe I had that little chink in my armor, and it was able to get in and do that to me. I'm just so grateful that when he did kiss me and that shock went through my body, I could still feel it now, in my canines, holy crap, what the heck was that? I'm glad he did that because then I was able to kick my feet, because otherwise my husband wouldn't have known, and he couldn't have pulled me out of it, Luckily he was able to pull me out of it, but I don't know, that was really, really scary.
Well, I ask both of y'all this. Did y'all, like, see, like, or have any strange happenings, like, before y'all actually went to bed? Like, other than, like, the Ouija board thing happening or whatever? Like, were y'all seeing, like, maybe shadow figures out of the corner of your eye or anything throughout the day, like, before or after this? Or it was just, like, during your sleep?
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of sex right before that second time, and then I was trying to go to sleep to get energy for the evening, and that's when that shit happened. And then the first one, like you said, was the Ouija board. But what about you, Josh? Like, was there anything different in what you did that day that could have caused this to happen, or was it just something that came out and attacked you?
See, I don't remember anything different. From what I remember, I just went to bed like normal, and next thing I know, I'm waking up, you know, like, I don't know, I thought she elbowed me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely got nudged awake, you know, so I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, you guys, we are at the end of our time, so Lindie, Josh, where is a site or location where people can find you and ask you questions or follow up with this show or see what you're doing?
Lindie, you want to take this one?
We have a Facebook page. It's Tangiphoa Parish Paranormal Society. You can look us up on there. Message us through there. And that's about it, I guess. I mean, we don't have a website or anything like that, which we may get one.
Well, I just want to thank you so much, Lindie and Josh, for joining us tonight on Late Night in the Rockies. It was a pleasure having you both, and I hope to have you guys back soon, hopefully with Mr. Tommy in tow. Man, hopefully he doesn't have to work next time. I really miss that guy.
Yeah, most definitely. Maybe we all can get on here and join in on the conversation. You know I love being on here. I'll come chat with you, girl.
Hell yes. And I also want to thank all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's KPNL Radio, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you may be listening this evening. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it next weekend when we have the Paradox Paranormal Forum, where all us crazy peeps get together and talk about anything under the paranormal umbrella. And then we have Mr. Hold on a second. We have Mr. Steve Ubaney. Sorry, there's a demon trying to get in my door. And he's going to be talking about who killed Marilyn Monroe. On that note, you guys, we're all in this together. Together, we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. Until next time, nighty-night, love and light. Take care of my Hughes. If you want to join the after party, look me up at tessa.n.thomas30 or give me a jingle jangle at 970.